You've been waiting for. Da 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 Preparing the Krabby Patty. It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da 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 Preparing the Krabby Patty. It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da 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 Preparing the Krabby Patty. It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da 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 Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Preparing the Krabby Patty! Preparing the... Preparing the... Like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Preparing the Krabby Patty! Preparing the... Preparing the... Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Preparing the Krabby Patty! Preparing the... Preparing the... Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Preparing the Krabby Patty! Preparing the... Preparing the... Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Preparing the Krabby Patty! Preparing the... Preparing the... Over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Preparing the Krabby Patty! Preparing the... Preparing the...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2. Is this working? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of the TrashCast. I went to a family birthday party, so I had a lot to drink before this, and I'm still drinking. So let's hope I can make coherent sentences and just ask some really nail-biting questions. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, I will now introduce you to my guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Trashimi. Trashimi, the chosen. I'm Trashimi. I'm the host of the TrashCast, currently our Drunkcast. And today I will be introducing my guests, the people that I have on the stream. Thank you, Johnny. I will be unmuting myself now so that you guys can hear them.
It's Scuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello.
It's broken. It's broken.
Oh, hello.
Oh, it's fixed.
Alrighty, thank you all 4 of you for joining me today on the TrashCast. I'm gonna run by the little play-by-play on who you guys are, and feel free to mark yourselves however you want, as long as it's between 30 seconds. And before anything starts, I just want to apologize. I just got home and I was drinking a lot before this. So if I stumble on my words or whatnot, please just ignore it and keep moving on. So with that being said, to the person left to me, dressed very nicely with the Hyrule Shield in the background, please give your introduction.
Hello, everybody. I'm Talon. You call me by my first name, also Talon. You can find me at twitch.tv/Talon CSGO. I'm a Counter-Strike player. I currently play in ECA Advanced for Aura Gaming. And yeah, I tap heads. I love shooting people. And that's me.
Thank you very much, Talon. Next up is the boy in the top left corner, our prized possession. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Gum or Mike. Either one is fine. I have a YouTube channel, GumruckYT. I don't post anything, so don't check it. If you do feel like subscribing, I would appreciate it. I'm a big Halo fan, and I love my Sim Squad. I see you guys in chat.
Next, our man in the shadows over here. Next, our boy in the shadows. Sorry, I forgot I had push start on, but go ahead.
Who?
You.
Yes. I am Boris
Scuff!
Space Dog.
Scuff!
Find me at Boris Space Dog at twitch.tv.
Talon is so straight
How
faced.
long are we gonna do this bit?
We're going to do it until my voice gets sore.
And last but not least,
What's up, guys? It's Gabriel Bananas, or you can call me by my first name, Gabriel Sans Bananas. Twitch.tv/Gabriel Bananas. I'll be doing gameplay and comedy sketches on my live streams. What's up, y'all?
awesome. Well, first off, just because Talon is the newest member of our ensemble here, Talon, the reason why my camera is not up in the Discord call is because I am using my camera for my live stream, and I will be doing it for jump cuts when I want to show, if we do like, gameplay trailers or whatnot when we're showing the audience, the people watching. So that's the only reason my camera isn't shown on Discord, but it is
That's
on
cool.
stream. So, but
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
looking at
most
the stream
part,
too.
perfect. So for the most part, I'll be asking you guys questions. Obviously, I got some criticism from my fans. They want to hear my side of the story. I'll try to do that without getting distracted. But for now, we will just stick with our current format, and I'll come up with things as we go on, and then I will write stuff down if I have further questions for you. So with that being said, I am going to stop this push to talk bullshit because it is making me tired. All right. So I want to thank all four of you, Gabe, Boris, Gumrock, Talon. I want to thank you, all four of you for, putting some time aside to hang out with us and give your thoughts and opinions on the current subjects that we're going to be going through with. And just to really get this podcast on its feet. And for those of you who don't know already, not only do we stream this podcast on twitch.tv/TrashCast, we also upload the VODs to my YouTube, which is under the same name. And besides that, we shall get on with it, as the youngins would say. So, with that being said,
On with it.
our first topic of the day, I already have it on screen. Halo 3 on PC, our thoughts and opinions on that. The last podcast we had was with Gumrock, Boris, Gabriel, and Dorito. Dorito has since been placed with Talon because Talon wanted to share his opinions, and fucking Dorito wasn't here. Unfortunately, he was busy. Sorry, my train of thought broke there. Anyways, so on our last podcast, we talked about Halo 3 on PC being ported to PC through the MCC collection, and how excited we were to be talking about that, and reliving some of the moments that really introduced us to the gaming world and got us really excited about Halo as a storyline and an atmosphere and whatnot. I'm missing the correct word, but that'll do for now. So I don't recall exactly what we talked about towards the end, but I'm mostly... Oh, it's the Ubisoft conference. That's what it was. We talked about Ubisoft games. Anyways, to move on from that point, today our topics are going to be Halo 3 on PC. Again, we're just reviewing, giving our overall feedback since it's been out for at least 2 weeks at this point, and we're just going over how we feel about the game and how it transitioned to PC. And then we'll lead into the recent Halo Infinite gameplay trailer dropped during the Xbox game showcase for the summer. And then to end it off, we will have our small talk about Ashes of Creations, a in development MMO that is apparently going to trump all the other MMOs. No affiliation with the U.S. Anyways, so I'd like to start off just a general question. Nothing to really, nothing to target one person. But the lineup that I called at the beginning, Talon, Gumrock, Boris, Gabriel, we'll just go in that throughout the loop of what we're talking about. And, people to go first and whatnot. So, Talon, since you are the first to my left, to begin the conversation, Halo 3 on PC has been out for, a good enough time to really give an understanding how it transitioned to PC and how it played. What are your thoughts on this current PC port of Halo 3 and how MCC has integrated it into its collection of Halo games that it's already brought to PC?
I mean, so back in the day when I was playing Halo 3 on the Xbox, it was probably my favorite game. It's one of the games that really got me into gaming and that I used to play with all my boys and all my homies when I was in middle school. And I think the first year of high school, it's kind of what kept me connected to them. So when it came to like PC, or when even like the MCC was coming to PC, it was like the game I was excited for. It's like, ah, man, like, one's here, Reach is here, two's here, like whatever, but like three, because like I was really hoping to catch all of those memories again. And I think a lot of the games definitely stood up the test of time, but I really think I'm actually really sad about my overall reaction to the MCC. Is that I've been really let down by 3 after now playing it. Maybe it's because my taste has completely changed as I got older, because when I was on Xbox, I liked games with like higher TTKs. I wasn't like a Call of Duty fan. Like I liked Battlefield and Bad Company. And then when I'm older, now I'm playing Counter-Strike, which is my new thing. Like, it's really quick, fast kills, like, constantly moving, always action. And like this pace of Halo 3 has been completely different. It's almost caught me in like a whiplash when I've been playing it. I know I've been playing with you, Brendan, like a few times, but like I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. But I'm not even sure if it's the game, because I don't think the MCC is really the most excellent port it could have been. I think the settings are really bare bones and not really up to full standard. I think the only thing that I think really meets close to the standard I would expect it to is the campaign. And that's just because the campaign, your settings and stuff really don't matter. But I found like playing against players with controllers who have the aim assist, like there's just so many parts of it that I found of like, man, this is not as... I've never remembered Halo being this frustrating to play and trying to get working properly. And so I think a lot of what made Halo 3 special is missing. Like, custom downloadable maps, easy custom game lobbies. Everything so far that I've known is it's pretty hard to get those things up and running still. And it's kind of taken away from the experience for me. So, like, I think Halo 3 is still a great game, but it hasn't held up that much. And I'm really sad to say that I haven't been enjoying it as much as I wanted to. I actually enjoyed, I think, playing a little bit of Halo 2. I enjoyed Halo 2 a little bit more, and parts of Halo 1 a little bit more. But maybe that's because they were closer to the age when the original versions were ready for PC. But I don't know. It's an odd feeling. It's an odd feeling when like something from your like childhood that was excellent, like you really really love, doesn't live up. Because I remember I told people like a long time ago, I was like, hey man, if Counter-Strike is great and all, but if like Halo came to the PC and it was excellent, like I'd be out in a second. Like I love Halo, and then it finally happened. I was like, all right, let's see what it's like, and I've been completely let down. It's my total reaction so far, which is why when we do talk about Infinite, I'm also not as excited as I wanted to be, especially after I looked at the trailer. But yeah, that's my current take right now. I don't know what anyone else has to say.
Well, that was definitely a good opposition to possibly some people that would find the game, monumental as far as a Halo port to PC and whatnot. And I totally agree with you, especially with Halo Infinite being our next topic, which we'll get to in a short minute. As much as the inner child inside me wants to be excited, this is a new Halo game, something we haven't experienced before, and especially with some things we're going to talk about just in a little bit. Really shake the foundation of what Halo grounded itself to be. You can't help but feel, at least for I would say the people on the podcast, you can't always get ahead of yourself. You can't get excited for games nowadays because companies feel like they cut back on some of the stuff that they market to the sellers themselves. Hello Dorito, goodbye Dorito. And it's you can never get as hyped as you want to for, say, a AAA game, specifically more often. That you can't get hyped for AAA games because the companies don't specifically deliver on the promises they make, or the trailers that they reveal, even when it says in-game rendering, or like this is in-game footage that we're showing. It feels like almost. I mean, not feels. They are slightly betraying us, and when they do give us updates, they don't necessarily push that out so publicly that everybody notices it. You know what I mean?
And that's I was looking at 3. I was like, there's no way when they port a 3 they could fuck it up, because like the graphics of 3 are already like timeless. They're like perfect. The Halos and Elites, like the Elites and Brutes from 3 are the best look they've ever looked in the entire series. Like they just look fantastic. They're iconic. The grunts have like this really nice and look and feel to them. The guns all have their own like dynamics. Like there's no way they could have fucked it up. And I don't know. I don't know. That's where I'm at. I'm not in the opinion like I think it's bad. I'm in the opinion of I'm not as happy as I want it to be.
It could have been more.
It could have been more. I feel like it could have been like a new generation, a renaissance, and I don't think it was that.
Okay, well, I actually really like your thoughts and opinions about this port to PC, because I like diversity. That's one of the things that I strive for on this podcast, and so far we've been throwing it back to back here. How diverse our answers are, and our people. I see you, Gabe. And so with that being said, and especially since there's a time constraint, Gabriel, what are your thoughts, not only about Halo 3 on PC being, ported to the MCC, but also some of the points that Talon here made, that being MCC feels, sort of like a letdown. Halo 3 made really no difference, although it is a good, a good addition to the MCC. It didn't bring the value up of the MCC enough to perhaps give a difference. Would you say, Talon?
No, I think 3 is still the best game that's in the MCC. I just think it's the PC port, and what like a PC port should be I don't think a reimagining, but it should bring it up to the new age and make it where playing on it, like, because PC players have like specific things that PC games have, like when it comes to like the settings, the type of resolutions you can play on, the way the game just looks in general. And I think in terms of porting it to a PC, there's really only where I feel like a lot of stuff is lazily done. It's not up to a PC game standard. It's not 2020 port. It's like a 2000, like, I don't remember when Halo 3 came out. Like, it's 2016 port. Like, it's just a few years ahead in the future. It's not like, oh, this is it, like, alive. And I'm glad they didn't do like they did Halo 2 Anniversary, where Halo 2 Anniversary is awful. It is the worst part of the MCC, and I will flat out say that. I'm glad they just kept it Halo 3 and kept the things that made it Halo 3, but at the same time, like, it needed something, and there's just not. It's just not there.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
I couldn't
it's okay.
disagree more.
Yeah, Gabriel, fill us in. What's
I was gonna say, what the hell's wrong with Anniversary?
Okay, so IMO, I do feel Halo 3, the current port is, I want to see it as a glass half full from point of view. I feel like Halo 3's PC port is the best Halo PC port we've had to date by far. Does that mean it's perfect? Does that mean it's the grandmaster of all PC ports? No, of course not. For the same reasons you stated that PC games do have a certain things that make it a PC game, or at least make it feel like it belongs on the platform, like server browsers, more settings when it comes to visuals and such, bigger mod support. And I get that. I totally do. And I agree. But when it comes to ports, you also have to see it in a way that none of these games were made to run on the PC system, despite the fact that PCs are just better versions of consoles. It was created originally for the Xbox, and to kind of reverse engineer it to the PC, there is a lot that goes into that that would make it very hard to retroactively add all those extra things that make PC native games feel the way they do for us PC gamers. I do very much respect what 343 did for Halo 3. Halo 1's port. I guess we'll start from the chronological release of MCC. Halo Reach's port, we all know, was very botched. And it was unfortunate. Halo 1's port wasn't that bad. It had a few issues. Unfortunately, it was the same broken Gearbox PC port that they've been using for the last 2 decades. So that's unfortunate. Halo 2's port also had quite a few issues. I don't have a problem with Halo 2 Anniversary. I think Halo 2 Anniversary is pretty cool, especially like Halo 2 Anniversary customs are pretty awesome. I don't know, that's just me though. Uh, and Halo 3's port felt the most complete. While it didn't have all those extra features, it also ran perfectly, well, damn near perfectly as it
It
should.
was the most stable release.
I'll
Yeah,
agree with that.
so-
I'll agree with that.
So, you're running at 144 hertz. There's barely any frame pacing issues as long as you're not crouching. That's really like the only animation issue that comes when extra frame rate. Enhanced resolution looks beautiful in the game. Uh, Everything looks great. The controls, I would say, are good. And it's not as bad as Reach is with the whole like. I don't feel like it's as bad as the whole like controller versus keyboard and mouse kind of thing as it was with Reach. I've had zero problems with Halo 3, like with aim assist or anything. Um, I think it adds, as far as MCC, for MCC on PC, I think it adds a lot because Halo 3 is the game everyone wanted, right? It's the game everyone's been waiting for because once Halo 3 came out on 360, everyone thought, okay, in a couple of years it's gonna come out on PC like they did for Halo 2 and Halo 1. Never happened. So now that it's on PC, it's like awesome. I don't care. Let's just play it. I just hope it's decent. It's good. And it is. It's literally the best Halo port. Could have they done more? Could have it been the best thing ever? Yeah, it could have. Unfortunately, it isn't. But because it is the best port, that is also at least maybe not something to be lauded, but something to be respected and to see it as an optimistic point of view in my eyes. Yeah, I do think it brought quite a bit. There's a ton more active players now because everyone just loves Halo 3 or Halo Reach. While we do have some fans, especially in the podcast, for Halo Reach specifically, it is a very divisive game. Halo 3, nowhere near as divisive, universally regarded as one of the better Halos, if not the best. So, there's always going to be a ton of people playing, and once they do bring in more stuff like Forge, and I don't know, is Forge? I didn't even check
It
if Forge
is.
is
It
in
is.
the original Reach. Okay. But once more people start doing more, how would I put, user generated content like we talked about last podcast,
Yeah.
the community is going to keep on living forever.
So with that being said, specifically, or excuse me, Gabriel, I'm still trying to, adjust to that.
That's cool.
Specifically what you just said right there, Gabriel, user created content, something that we spoke about on the last podcast. It really is funny that you mentioned that. And now a question to all four of you. With Halo 3 coming to PC, do you believe the port in this game specifically, not Reach, not 1, not 2, Halo 3 specifically, will make the general public or, general gamers want to play the MCC more and for a longer period than just the initial release week? So I'm talking, months in advance. Do you think like the concurrent player base will grow just because of this game alone, or do you think it will, just for the first week and then it'll go back to what it was beforehand?
I don't think it'll grow. I think it'll probably stay at a decent number. You're never gonna grow on a re-release of a game,
Well,
unless
I'd say
they
grow.
like the only way I can see it possibly growing is if they feature update add server browsers for like custom games and stuff.
I would
Um,
argue it's already grown.
You
It's
think
gonna
so?
I
stay
mean,
like
it's
that.
grown, like it's picked up, but it's not going to continue to grow. You're not going to see an increased growth of
Yeah.
No, I
Halo
agree.
players.
I agree. I mean, it's not like Rainbow Six Siege where they're adding like crazy stuff every new season or CS:GO or whatever. I mean, it's a game that already existed and is
So
Yeah.
now in the
I
memory
mean,
bank
I
of all
say that, and
gamers.
I have a whole nother like tunnel I want to go down about that because of all the shit they added for Halo 1.
mm,
Like, if that's a sign of what's to come, then I'm in favor of the growth, but I don't know how easy or hard that is. I know for Halo 1, it's particularly a little bit easier because they helped start develop that for PC. I don't know how much harder that'll be for Halo 3, but if the add-ons if all the unlocks that they gave for Halo 1, if they started to be like, hey, we can throw some skins in for Halo 2, oh, hey, we can throw some skins in for Halo 3, then we might see some growth.
I think at the very worst case, it's going to be stable. At the very worst. I mean, kind of what Gabe said earlier, this is like the best Halo that's ever been Haloed. Like, there's no other Halo that's better. And both longtime fans and then people who are going to be bringing in like their current friend groups who maybe never played Halo or PS4 kids back in the day, like it's all at the very worst case it's going to be stable. And I think one opportunity that 343 has in front of them is that when it turns to a competitive scene, I think 3 had a slightly healthier, if not slightly better, competitive scene than 2, and when tournaments may start up again, and I do say slightly better and slightly more. I think that could be an avenue because we do know esports is huge, and esports brings viewers on Twitch. Esports brings younger kids into it, wanting to play and give it a try. And I do think Halo is a fundamentally just massively great. Like Halo 3 is a fundamentally fantastic game for anybody to get into and get better at. So I think is that possibility for new players to trickle in and be like, oh wait, there's the tournament. Maybe let's give it a shot. Let's check it out. So I think in the worst case, Halo 3 is going to make MCC stable.
I agree.
Go, Mark. Is there
I-
anything you wanted to say specifically, or?
I was waiting till everyone finished.
I'm just
so
listening.
I could speak. Personally, as I talked about on the last podcast, I've been getting slowly back into Halo after my initial burnout, and like, oh my god, I suck at Halo 3. Like, I am terrible. I can play any of the other Halo games, but I am so bad at Halo 3. But I enjoy the shit out of it. I think
Do not bully
despite
Boris.
everything else that is going on, regardless of Forge and ports and how it might be unstable, like I said last time, it's Halo. People love Halo, and the game is still fun. And I have 100% noticed new accounts, brand new, fresh accounts on the game. I got 2 friends who had never played Halo before that are now playing Halo with me. So I think Halo 3 specifically, increasing the longevity of MCC, yes. Because this guy, he'd never even heard of Firefight before. He never knew what Forge or custom games was. So Halo 3 is 100% helping the MCC last longer. 100%.
Okay.
More so than the other games, yeah, I would agree to that. I would say it has been the best release and is the biggest release on MCC. As much as I love my boy Reach, 3 has definitely been a better and more successful launch. Yeah, I think that's all.
Cool. Gabe, was there
To be
something
fair,
you
it
wanted
is
to say?
also
or-
like the 4th release there are down, like with Reach being the first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess
Fourth
it
time's the
gives
charm.
Exactly. It gave them some time to work out some of the kinks of porting stuff over. And like you were saying earlier, Gabe, just like these things were built for completely different hardware and software to run on. And so the fact that they're even able to run on PC, for me personally, I think it's just a gift. And I think that's a wonderful. Um, I do think that these issues should be worked on earlier. Or, yeah, they should have been worked on earlier. And it shouldn't have been released when they weren't ready. But I think their strategy, obviously, was when Infinite's coming out at the end, we got to get all the old games on to bring people back into Halo. And that was the marketing strategy, and that's what they're continuing to do. So I understand why they released games that were unfinished. They're unfinished.
Yeah, there's
We
no
can all
way.
agree on that.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's no way the marketing team would have let them not been like, oh yeah, all of them are coming out.
Yeah. So that's my thinking. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see Halo 5 in a year on MCC. But yeah, that's my.
Now, Gabriel, before anybody else tries to jump in and talk, and I apologize for cutting anybody else off, but Gabriel, at the end of Talon's statement after I asked the question, you seemed like you wanted to say something. Hopefully, you still do.
Oh, I agree with. I was gonna specify. I do agree with the fact that Halo 3 is gonna, if anything, just have a steady player base, probably more so than whenever Reach 1 and 2.
Mm.
Like whatever the steady was before, it's gonna be slightly more increased, and it's gonna stay like that. I agree. I would say though, up until Infinite comes out.
Okay.
Because
It's
Infinite's
like-
coming to PC, right?
Yeah, Infinite's coming to PC.
Oh, hell yeah,
and
it is.
I feel like most of the players are these. I'm gonna say there's like three camps of players. There's the us, people who love 3 and want to now replay it and relove it and rekindle everything that we loved about it when we first picked it up. There's the adopted new players by the first group, which are like, hey, play this game that you've never played before. Please, now it's on PC. Everyone has a PC nowadays.
Like
Play it,
Gumrock's
please.
friends.
And it runs on everything,
Mhm.
apparently. So it's like literally anything can run Halo 3 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so now all these new players are joining up. And then the third camp is people that are excited for Halo Infinite, don't care about the old games, but they're like, man, I kind of want to play Halo now. Oh, this MCC thing's on Steam. I'll download it. And that's a big amount of the player base right now. A lot of people who are trying to just hold their anticipation over until Infinite comes out.
Okay.
Much like Call of Duty players play the last Call of Duty before the new one comes out.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Same can be said for the general sports games, FIFA, NHL,
Exactly.
Madden, NFL, stuff like that. People will play previous iterations like 18, 19, leading up to the 20th year release of the games I mentioned before. Gumrock, what were you
Please.
saying?
Please don't compare FIFA and Halo. Please, that
No,
feels
no.
dirty.
I'm not
Putting them
comparing.
anywhere near each other.
I'm not comparing the gameplay. I'm just saying they're on the same schedule as releasing games year after year. Is like people
I guess.
people want to play games just to feel nostalgia. Is I think what Gabe was really trying to nail down. Is a lot of people that are returning players are playing it for nostalgia, and they want to rekindle that spirit inside themselves to play games that they played when they were kids as adults, especially since a lot of people now have different views on the world and who they are as themselves. It can change a lot how you play video games, believe it or not. And really that draws out a different kind of feeling in a kind of different world when you're playing video games. And also to touch on what Gumrock said, and to mix in a little what Gabriel said, is that Halo 3 on PC, with obviously the help from friends, has brought new players who never even really gave interest to Halo in the first place, which is really nice to hear. Gumrock, thank you for bringing them to the world of Halo.
I will indoctrinate any new people into
Awesome.
Halo.
I'm glad you have chosen to do that.
We are
But,
assuming direct control.
and something that Gabriel brought up is that MCC is good for now, and it's bringing in new people, friends, or family that may be close to you. You're introducing them to Halo and whatnot. But when Halo Infinite comes out, and now Boris, I know you haven't gotten to your Halo 3 piece yet, and we'll follow up with yours right after this. But with with Halo Infinite, excuse me, being announced, obviously earlier this year, and the gameplay trailer being shown, which I'm assuming most of my viewers have watched, because I believe a lot of my viewers are Halo fans. With that being shown, MCC on PC with the Halo 3 port will be great, and it is a good avenue to bring new players into the Halo universe. But with Halo Infinite, it will take a lot of the new players, or maybe the old players especially, because it's a new Halo game. It'll drag them over to do Halo Infinite, thus taking most of the player base from the MCC to the new game. And obviously, Gabe, you brought this up already, but players who go to Halo Infinite from MCC, they will be switching constantly between the both, because obviously, from what we've seen already in the Halo Infinite from the gameplay trailer specifically, I feel like, and I don't want to spoil my opinions or whatnot just yet, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of switching between the two games. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think, and this will be the last question before we move on to Boris's thoughts, and then we'll go on to Halo Infinite, because I want to hear Gabe's thoughts on Halo Infinite. But what do you guys think? Do you think the player base will, entirely fluctuate to Infinite, or do you think it'll be, just a mesh of both, where they'll be flying back and forth between the two games?
Well, it depends, right? It depends on what what Infinite brings to multiplayer, like what it brings to the table. I mean, look at Halo 5, and its forge mechanics were bar none the best the series has ever seen. It's crazy customizable, but the mechanics aren't Halo, so nobody cared. Nobody really played it. I mean, of course, some people who didn't care about the old mechanics, or maybe didn't care that they changed it, will keep playing it, will love the new custom games, and love the new forge mechanics, and it was great. But a ton of the people that want Halo for Halo, that wanted Halo for Halo, and they saw the new mechanics, they thought, oh, it's cool or whatever. And it didn't really hold them. It probably didn't feel right to them. And I mean, I'm speaking from experience, but from a lot of people, what they told me as well. And they kind of dropped it. If Infinite does the same thing, where they want to change things up, but still keep it Halo, they might start switching. Yeah, I'd agree, because people are gonna want that retro Halo feel. Now, if it truly does feel like a Halo game, which I guess we'll get to Halo 5 in a bit. If the multiplayer and the fours and everything does feel like an expansion from 5, or hell, even 4, then I'd say the switchover would be just 1 to 2. Everyone would just come over. Nobody would stay at MCC. That'd be the new thing. There's no reason to.
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on the current subject matter?
Let Boris speak.
We'll get to him. Don't worry.
Oh,
I think
I will get to you, bro.
I think when it comes to like movements of the player base, I think coming from the world of Counter-Strike, where we had the very famous 1.6 versus Source schism,
Yep.
where Source is supposed to be the direct upgrade and better in every way, and then there are people who preferred at 1.6. I mean, I do think that's like the worst case. Like, that is what probably will happen if Infinite shows up and it does not completely meet the expectations of the community. And I think we could talk about whether like it's even possible for them to meet the expectations of the entire Halo community, because of how generational that community is. But I think there's a possibility where that will happen, where there's going to be, we are the MCC players, we play MCC, we're the Infinite players, we play Infinite, because they pick and choose one thing or the other in the game. I do think, though, because I'm always focused on esports. I do think Halo Infinite will be the esports scene for Halo. I don't think Halo MCC will continue to have tournaments once Infinite comes out. It'll probably be small community tournaments. I don't think it'll ever reach the same size. Would it be awesome if it stayed like a Super Smash with Melee versus Ultimate? That'd be solid. I would love that. I would love to see Halo 3 tournaments in 2021, 2022. But do I think that's actually going to happen because 343 is going to help and put money into it? I'm doubtful. Doubtful is my word for it. But
Okay.
I really hope that the hope is so if like Infinite is a smash hit and everybody likes it, I do think there's a possibility everybody would move over if they're able to hit all of those notches somehow, and it's going to be a task, like where like the Forge is perfect, the custom games is perfect, the multiplayer is something that has a draw to everybody, the story is good enough to pull everybody in. I could see a world where everybody just moves over, and that MCC becomes something where it's like, weekend with the buddies. You want to play a throwback game? Like it could possibly be that, but I do think 343 has a very, very tall task to hit if they're going to do that, because you have to hit generations of opinions, and I don't think like our generation of players has the exact same thing of what a Halo game is to us as the kids who actually grew up as 4 as their Halo. There are kids, who 4 was their first Halo, 5 was their first Halo, and they're going to come into this series expecting something completely different than what we want. And that's the question, the $1 million question is what does the multiplayer look like? And we don't know that yet.
Yep.
About that trailer. We have ideas. I have some ideas based off the trailer that I think I haven't heard yet, but that's the $1 million question that really decides that, in my opinion.
Definitely. Now, Boris, with everything that's been said so far, and definitely you have, I mean, just from personal experience with playing games with you, hanging out with you, streaming with you, and especially during our last episode, you and Gabriel, fighting back and forth, showed who was the biggest Halo fan. With that being said, Boris, with everything we've talked about so far, what are your thoughts and opinions on this? Because obviously we've had a lot of big statements, especially from Talon. Which Talon, once again, I want to thank you for definitely your stance on this, because it helps bring a lot of different counterpoints and whatnot to the conversation. Those being, MCC feels like it wasn't chalked up to what it was supposed to be. Halo 3 was good, but it didn't really bring more to the table. And like Gabriel said, these games weren't made for PC. So it's difficult to bring a full experience to another platform as what it did to Xbox 360 and potentially Xbox One when those came out.
Before Boris roasts me, let me add one asterisk.
Oh, okay, all right.
Let me add asterisk. I do not think Halo 3, the 3-port brought everything it could have. I think it is wasted potential. That's what I was trying to say. It could have.
Oh, okay. All right.
I expected more. I expected a renaissance, and I got a day at the fair.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just adding that to my notes.
Given the older ports, did you really expect a renaissance?
If you're making me wait months and years, and that's the only thing I want, yeah, I want a renaissance. I understand it's rose-tinted glasses, but I wanted a renaissance.
Fair enough.
I wanted a renaissance.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah.
Boris, roast me.
So Boris, please let us know.
I'll immediately just
feeling.
turn off that. And as someone who's been playing MCC on Steam since it first came out on Steam, Halo 3 launches everything I expected it to be. It was stable. Actually, it was better because it was stable. The only issue we ever ran into was like the day of we were playing campaign and with a group. We were playing multiplayer group and we couldn't access the terminals for some reason. It was the only like bug I ever really encountered. I like Halo 3. It's definitely not my favorite. I don't know, it's hard for me to choose a favorite because it's all like in different categories. I all have different nostalgia through all of them. But I mean, for me, Halo has always been as much of campaign as it's been for multiplayer. Like some people like only will play the multiplayer and they're like, oh, the campaign, what the hell's the story? for me, they've been hand in hand. It's 50-50. I would say it's even more 60-40 campaign to multiplayer for me. And I've been loving going back and playing Halo 3 and still finding shit that I'm like, wow, it's been 13 years and I just discovered this and I've never done this before in the campaign level. But it's been fun. I realize I suck at Halo 3 snipers. Don't know what it is. I'm great at every other game, but something about Halo 3 snipers fucking me over. But I mean, with everything that's going on, like Halo 3 launch was what I thought it was going to be. Of course, they're having a skeletal crew work on this, because they're all pushing to get Halo Infinite out and this fall or this holiday season. Like they're playing catch up while playing catch up with Master Chief Collection right now. Like they're busy trying to get the next game out while still doing updates for the old games that they've released for this. So of course none of these games that launch are gonna have full options. Like Reach launched without Forge. So I was just like, oh okay, I expect every other release to be missing something. And so like Talon was like, it feels empty because there's no custom games. And I'm like, there have been no custom games for like about a year with this now. So it's like I'm not missing anything. Like this is about what I expected it to be. But I mean, honestly, the thing which amazed me, and I guess it's so small and minuscule, but the fact that they added like a shit ton of customization options for Halo 1 multiplayer, which is honestly the multiplayer I'm probably having the most fun with right now. I don't think I'd ever say that.
It's
But
badass.
Halo 1's multiplayer is just trash fun. Every time I go in, it's just like, I don't care. I'm going in having fun. I laugh my ass off when I get kicked. Because it's always the stupidest shit when I team kill people. Because it's like, I bump them with the ghost and then I get kicked. So, and so when they introduced all the skins and stuff, I think that was like, I was like, oh shit. Are they actually going to go back and slowly add things to the other games? So I think that was the biggest thing for the Halo 3 update for me, was that the fact that they may be considering adding in, updates for old games, even if it's just skin stuff. And I take that back. And the fact that people have been modding Reach Forge for a while now since it's been out. And there have been like the mods have added the sabers, the phantoms, the fireable phantoms, the fireable ships, the fireable frigates. But the fact that they went ahead and just like, oh yeah, all the things that we have in Halo Reach, you can now just throw into Forge, which was great. Which I did not expect them to do that. And just makes me like, it's the same thing for Halo 3. They added in, you can throw in the transport warthog and the anti-air race in Halo 3.
They also updated all the budgets for Forge, so now you can place like more objects total.
Yeah, you can place. It's almost unlimited now. So it's just like, it's the little things like that are just like, I didn't expect them to do or weren't in like the announcements or patch notes. And I was like, oh, so they may be doing something here behind the scenes that they're not really saying in terms of keeping this game's longevity around. So I'm optimistic about that. Even if it's just like next season, it's gonna be like, next season's probably gonna be Halo 4 unlocks. That's probably what it's gonna be.
ODST, right? Isn't it gonna be
ODST?
ODST?
ODST didn't have any. Well, I mean, the next season, like when Halo 2 was released, there wasn't a new season yet.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. So like I think the next season will probably be Halo 4, but the season after that, maybe they'll go back to like adding things like they did with Halo 1, where it's like, yeah, fuck it, just here's a stupid little skin for your warthog you can unlock if you want. Who knows? Because once they release Halo Infinite and they're just doing map and or bug fixes for Infinite, and they have all of Halo Master Chief Collection out, they might just be working on updates or possible, little things to keep the longevity, keep people buying it. Especially if they end up adding Halo 5 to the Master Chief Collection for PC. So long story short, yeah, that was my I guess my reactions to the Halo 3 launch is less of what Halo 3 itself was and more of what everything surrounding it was with the update.
Definitely. And Boris, I entirely appreciate your perspective, especially since and Gabe as well, Gabriel as well, because you two, especially during the first podcast and as long as I've known you, have cemented yourselves as some
Excuse
of the.
me, Gums over there looking kind of sad.
Obviously.
I
But
guess my opinion is not respected.
No. It is.
Nah, bro.
All right.
Keep your
All right.
opinions to yourself, bro.
Everybody.
You on the rest of this podcast.
Keep yourself, buddy. What do
Everybody-
you think this is?
Guys, come on, please. Everybody on this podcast, I appreciate your inputs, especially because each of you brings something to this podcast that I am unable to, which is a different perspective. Obviously, I can
Entertainment.
Okay, all right. Let's kick this guy out. Fuck this guy.
Brendan,
Remove
you,
from group.
you bring sex appeal. I don't know about you in the tank top.
That's all I
But
got.
I mean, you bring the sex.
Some
appeal
people
to
call
the
me
stream.
Budget Tyler 1. I don't know.
Budget Tyler one. I mean, you could improve the dent on your head. It's definitely there's room for improvement.
For sure. So, with that being said, Boris. Boris was his opinion on this was generally positive. That being that it was stable. His only issue was that he couldn't, interact with the terminals during co-op.
And that he's bad at snipers.
And that
It
he's
was
bad at
just,
snipers.
I'm bad at
Exactly.
snipers.
Which is
It's not so
totally
much
fine.
Positive. It's just it was.
But that's a
steady as she
you
goes.
that's a you issue with improving how you play as snipers. And now I will
No,
not
we're
get
flipping on
into
that.
yeah, exactly. It's the hitboxes, right? Right?
Make
Oh, yeah,
my
hitboxes.
hitboxes smaller and make their hitboxes bigger. That's all I
Exactly,
want.
right?
Yes.
Big brain moves. Anyways, so Boris, you said, and now I have a list for once, which is a great improvement. You think Infinite will be rushed? Is that correct? You think they'll rush to complete it by the end of the year, since that's their due date?
I don't recall saying it'll be a rush. I think I mean, it's crunch time. It's end of the year. Like it's with any. This isn't just Halo Infinite. This is any game down to like the last 4 months before release. They're gonna be. What I'm saying is, they probably don't have a lot of resources on Master Chief Collection right now because the core 343 is trying to finish up Infinite.
My mistake then. Thank you for correcting me. But regarding Halo MCC, opposed to what Talon said, Talon, and correct me if I'm wrong, Talon, but you expected more of Halo 3, correct? Yeah. And Boris, your counter argument essentially to Talon's statement was that you came in just originally with lower expectations. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say low. I would just say
Lower.
Not low,
I
lower
came
than
in
what
with
Talon had.
I came in with no expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
I came in expecting Halo 3, and I got slightly more than Halo 3. So I was
Exactly.
like, oh.
So
okay.
with you being not necessarily pessimistic or optimistic, you were just whatever they give me, it's whatever. As long as it holds up to what was previously given to me when I was younger. You said that.
I
Oh,
went
go ahead.
in neutral, and now I'm coming out optimistic.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. But with that being said, and perfect that you referenced that you're optimistic. The next thing I was going to lead into, and I really want to pace this up because I know Gabriel has to, separate from us in a short while. But
Gabe, what do you think about Halo Infinite? Go.
with Halo MCC coming in with the customization to different games and adding that along to their quote unquote season pass, even though it's not season pass, it's a season progression, similar to what most of the season passes have been, minus the pay, the money or the subscription. With that being said, and including the small improvements, here and there to the different kind of issues that people have with the game. Do you believe Halo MCC may be able to, keep some of its player base solely because of the customization across the different games? And the only reason I say that, and I know it sounds far-fetched right away, Talon might know a little bit what I'm talking about, but Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike has been the same game for how many years, Talon?
CS:GO released in 2012, I believe.
And then
8 years.
and then CS 1.6 was what, 98, 2000?
98, 99.
Yeah. So
90s.
this game, Counter-Strike, has been predominant in its field for more than a decade, right? And one of the things that CS:GO has really grabbed people and brought them in is the skin customization. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Halo MCC, is that 343 is pushing out these seasons, which, is a gameplay accessible XP, unlock per, rank or whatnot, or challenges as they have introduced in this new update. They're releasing these new customizations, especially with Halo 1. New visors, which wasn't seen in the original Halo 1. They're upgrading the visors, the cars, the titles to your nameplate or whatnot. You're seeing a lot of stuff that wasn't in the original Halo, which obviously is nice. And yeah, exactly. The visors. Thank you, Boris. Which I think I said, but
You did.
I did. The visors especially has just a plethora of different colors to the visors, and the weapons as well. And they give them different, aesthetics and whatnot. And obviously, although it's different from Counter-Strike in the respect to, Counter-Strike, you either pay for the keys to unlock the cases to get the skins. Halo, you just have to play the game in order to get it. Do you think that... Gumrock, shut the fuck up. Do you think that this skin, the new skin customization thing that 343 is going for, will it keep the player base locked in? Anybody's game. Last question before we move on.
No.
Yeah, coming from Counter-Strike, like looking at it like from really far up, you're like skins in Counter-Strike, skins in Halo. Skins kept Counter-Strike going and is part of their scene. Skins in Halo, will it do the same thing? Well, if they continue doing the same model that they're doing in MCC, and I don't expect them to even replicate CSGO's model into Infinite, where the skins are provided by 343 that is like unlockable content, or that you buy off of 343, it is not resellable. I don't think it's going to have the same effect. CSGO skins are really unique in the fact that you buy them, you can sell them, you don't have to sell them on the Steam market, you can sell them to somebody else through Steam trading. They have a value that's actual cash dollars that can go somewhere. And it's kind of what we're seeing for right now, to bring up Valorant. We're talking about CS:GO, but what Valorant's a lot of my friends who are playing are complaining about is like, I have to buy these skins like from Riot, like, and once I buy them, I just have them, like they're in my account, but the skins themselves then have no more value other than me buying them.
Yep.
Like they have no use to me, so they're not gonna keep me playing the game. I'm just gonna go, well, I really like that, I guess I'll just take, I got $50 to spare, I'll blow it, and then they accept it as a sunk cost. So I don't think in comparison to Counter-Strike it'll have the same effect. I also don't think they're going to be the same type of... it would be really hard to have skins be the same thing there in Counter-Strike, where like if you played Halo 1, 2, and 3, you had the similar looking like Fire Serpent battle rifle. Like,
Yeah.
that wouldn't... I don't know if that'll work. And if
There's a big reason as to why.
Yeah, and it's just I don't think it can at all, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The biggest reason as to why is that all the games we're referencing as to successful reasons why, and the thing we're not pinpointing it for Halo, is that all the current games we're referencing are big esports. So all the tryhards need something to do while they're grinding.
Now, just to,
That's what
I
the skins are for.
apologize to cut, anybody who had something to say about that, to actually intercept your statement, Gabriel. Talon, although this, may not, really, whatever. Halo Infinite, Talon, you said that Halo Infinite would be the esports scene for Halo games. Now, with obviously Gabriel's statement just now, is that there won't be any reason to keep anybody, any of the competitive players staying around. And I could be wrong. That might have been you. Now that I'm thinking of it. But in sorry to call you out, but I am taking notes. You did say earlier that Halo Infinite would be the esports scene for Halo competitive.
If the multiplayer is
if
up to
it's
snuff.
good enough. Now,
Yeah.
do you think that will fall in line, or like maybe the MCC with Halo 2, 3, 1, whatever? No,
When it comes to skins,
none of that
and
will
then
change.
you're missing like another part of it. If there's going to be a skin model that will be successful in Infinite, it'll be something similar.
Isaac
probably
Heroes
to what
cheered.
Epic did with Fortnite,
X50.
or
Hello
what Valorant is
everyone.
doing with their
Daddy
skins, where it's a one-time purchase, reskin of a gun. As they already did played with skins in 4 and 5 with like mixed amounts of success. But the basis is just that Infinite. I don't think I would absolutely surprise me if they did that their skins are not going to be available for sale in the community market on Steam, and they're not going to be community made type of things that are going to be brought in. It's mostly going to be content 343 is going to make for it themselves, because then they own the sole rights to it, the sole revenue to it. And just by judging by 343's track record when including community content, and they've been better with mod support, but I don't think they've been as transparent as maybe a company as Valve. I don't think they have the same track record where they would go that route that CSGO
Isaac
is.
Heroes
If they're
cheered.
doing something, it's going to be like Valorant. And I don't think that model is as successful. Granted, I don't know shit about Fortnite, so I can't say how successful that skin model is and how much people still play because they have, skins that cost $30, $40. But I think the Fortnite scene is seeming to dwindle a little bit, and that they are struggling because of that kind of that basis. So I don't know. But it's hard to draw comparisons to Counter-Strike because I think they're going to be two different beasts the way they handle in-game content. Just straight out.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, and I'll say one more thing before we should probably move on to Halo
Yeah.
Infinite.
For sure.
Halo should stick to its strengths. And I think the one thing that Trash, and a couple of people have mentioned off stream is the one thing that they need to do once they have the ability to do it after releasing all the games so far that they've said they're going to release on Master Chief Collection. Add a server browser. You get custom games, you get people coming back and making games, and the ability for people to join just random people in a custom game lobby. That will be a defining moment to keeping the game alive. You can try to keep up with CSGO, but Halo and CSGO are two different demons. And the one thing that has kept people coming back to Halo is custom games. That's how things like Riftball and shit got started. If you do that, that'll be the first step. Adding skins, be a nice little thing here and there. If you got the art team to do it, do it. I'm sure they'll have something to do, even if it's just literally changing a color on a vehicle.
Yeah.
But the first and foremost things they should be focusing on is getting a server browser. Once again, I'm not a coder. I don't know how hard that would be for the Master Chief Collection. But you do that, you guaranteed at least have all 5 of us in this channel coming back and playing custom games. Because my biggest thing is organizing people to come play custom games. If I can just be like, oh, hey, look, it's going to be like Gary's mod, where I can just scroll down a list and see, oh, there's a server of 10 out of 16 people that I can go hop in.
Fat kid 24/7, no snipers, infinite respawn.
That's the feature I want.
Infection modes 24/7. Come join. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna go jump in.
I spent 24 hours in Forge World VR chat. Here's what happened.
See, that's
Consensual.
its strength. That's one of Halo's biggest strengths. They do that. That's a guaranteed. I'd see,
I
at least
agree.
in my eyes, way of keeping people sustained. All right, Halo Infinite. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, everybody on the Halo Infinite train. Now that we've gotten past our our optimisms and our doubts about Halo 3 on PC. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So with that being said, Halo Infinite, huge, huge. It's the biggest game in the world. Halo Infinite. What a shocker! First off, I wanna say my piece. Is that Halo Infinite shocked me entirely. Not only for those of you who haven't watched in chat, and just to confirm really quick, you four have watched the trailer for Halo Infinite, the gameplay trailer.
3 times.
Yes, I have.
3 or 4 times, Jim.
I saw the analysis by Digital Foundry.
Okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to assume that the people in my chat have watched it as well. If you haven't, please head on over there to watch it. It is definitely a game worthy of your attention for at least 8 minutes, I think the trailers. And we will be watching, or not watching, excuse me, cut that. We will be talking about everything that happened in that gameplay trailer and our expectations going forward. And then, unfortunately, 2 of our guests will have to leave us soon. So, me, Boris, and Talon will continue with our last subject, Ashes of Creation, which will be short. Do not expect a long, lengthy discussion about that. It's just going to be short because, it's still up in the air. So, with that being said, Halo Infinite, the gameplay trailer coming out. I'm just going to list everything I have right here on my right-hand screen. This is what was revealed and what was thought to be revealed. And please excuse me if I leave 1 or 2 things out. The grappling hook, Master Chief using the grappling hook and sprinting and sliding. The graphics are not up to 4K expectations, at least from what I saw in Twitch chat, and not only editors' reviews, but my own reviews. The graphics are not up to date. They are really subpar, and honestly, they remind me of Reach graphics. When Master Chief opens up his tac pad, it shows open world. Do we expect open world to be a huge factor into Halo Infinite? Multiplayer. What is the question about multiplayer? What do you expect? Do we expect it to be like Destiny? Destiny 2? Do you think you're going to have fire teams and you'll be able to traverse the Halo ring with your friends? Or do you think it'll be like traditional Halos where you're in custom games, Forge games, or multiplayer games on specific map locations? Which actually covers the rest of my thing. So, with all of that being said, hopefully some of you heard what I said. I know I sped through that. We're just going to do the clock rotation that we've already set since the beginning of the stream. Talon, you'll be our first opinion. Tell me what your hopes are for this game and what you're kind of scared about, because I know some of the things I just listed off are some gamers might say quote unquote too good to be true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I have like this ultra optimistic, like, and maybe this kind of goes back into like the Halo 3 where I had my bar set way too high. My ultra optimistic point of view of like where I saw, because a lot of things I saw in the trailer, I felt honestly troubled by as like an old generation Halo 3 player. Like, I was really, really hoping when I first saw the initial reveal, like Master Chief's armor, I'm like, okay, they're aware, we want back to basics. Like, maybe there's no sprint, maybe it's gonna like finally have like a finite move speed, like things are gonna be well paced, and then I saw the slide in the dash and I was like, fuck. and then on top of that, I saw the grappling hook and I was like, yo, cool. Also, fuck. Like, those 3 things alone, like, I think one of the things that makes the first 3 Halos so timeless is, and Reach included, for a certain amount, is how, from a design perspective, like not having the sprint and grappling made everything really consistent and easy to time things. Like it had also this kind of movement of like you had to kind of traverse on your own, and firefights had this kind of natural flow to them because of that stagnant movement. And I was kind of saddened by when I saw it in the single player, but there's one saving grace to that trailer that like brought my host back up, and that's when he opens up his tab and looks at the world map, and you see the upgrade tab, and that right there is the one thing that made me go, okay, maybe some of this stuff is a single player exclusive, where the grappling hook is not going to work the same way it does in single player as in multiplayer. Sprinting won't work the same way as single player as in multiplayer, and things will be different, where the multiplayer will have its own thing, and then single player will be its own thing. Because to me, I was like that to me is where I'm optimistic, where because I think from a perspective, like if you're designing just a really really good map, like if you bring into one of the really old, if you ever played Halo 5 and you played the spaceship map that's all purple, I can't remember its name, that's been in the game since 2, right? They revitalized and brought it into 5. That map is awful to play in 5 because everybody's got sprinting, they're running around, and the map is just too small and not made for that type of fight. And it's really hard, in my perspective, for a designer to make a map design that's supposed to be as chaotic and yet not too chaotic when you have sprinting and climbing and all these movement mechanics. You can do it and turn it into like a Titanfall 2, but then it's not Halo. That's not Halo. So I really was hoping to see sprint and all the climbing mechanics go away or be tied down to something. But I guess my optimism is maybe that's just single player. Maybe single player the game works different.
Yeah.
Because I overall everything else about the game, I know the graphics. I agree with you. The graphics don't look next gen, but at the same time, I love the stylizedness of it. I do appreciate the brighter colors. It looks kind of like 3, but like given a little bit more vibrance and a lighter palette. The brutes do look awful, but the elites looked great. But when we got up close up the elite, I really like the elites design. I'm glad it's back to the old elite design. I think the 4 and 5 elites look absolutely. Yeah, see, Boris agrees with me. They look so awful. 4 and 5s have the worst. Like, they're supposed to be alien samurai. Why do they look like a giant ape? I could never figure that out. 4 or 5. So I think the brutes could be touched up a little bit better. The Banished, I'm actually really excited for because the extended lore around the Banished. I know some people are really like upset about it. Like, how does the Banished beat the UNSC when they're supposed to be a small flinter faction? But overall, the extended lore, like the Banished, are not that weak. Like, they are pretty strong. So, and 5 being kind of retconned is like a happy and a sad, because like I kind of was still interested to see where Cortana's stories go.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, it's like soft retcon, like soft rebooted. So the story, I don't know. I've got a couple weird feelings. I'm excited for the Banished. I'm excited for them. I think they're gonna be cool. Atriox is kind of badass if you played Halo Wars 2, and the overall extended lore of the Banished is they are pretty cool. It's like a likable version of the Covenant in terms of like you can almost sympathize with them a little bit more. So perhaps it'll have a more sympathizable villain. But in terms of what I want from the multiplayer, I never really thought of it going the Destiny route. I sure to hope God it doesn't, because it's not Destiny. Destiny has the niche and it's filling it quite well. I want Halo to get back to what Halo's good at. And that's really good matchmaking, fast and fun games, tight game modes, tight map design, tight gun mechanics, and if Infinite can deliver on that, I will be so happy. The multiplayer, in terms of balancing, is going to be weird. I don't know. Does anybody know? Were the guns? Did they look like they were hit scam or were they projectile? Because some of them look projectile. Some of them look so. If they're hit scan,
It looked hit scan.
if it's hit scan, I'm not optimistic that when it goes to multiplayer, the sprint's not going to be there, because that means people are going to be moving around like super fast, like in 5. So they need to do hit scan. But I prefer hit scan with some guns, and not without others. I liked 2's kind of design in that sort of aspect, where I liked that like the battle rifle was hit scan, but like Covenant weapons were projectile, and you kind of had that cool balance. But I think for the multiplayer, just in general, it just has to hit that Goldilocks area where there's going to be something that's really interesting and basic, but it has somewhere to go and improve from. And I think the pieces are there, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, just to keep with our sort of layout right now, and oh, finally, Talon's camera can
Yeah, I'm trying to
focus.
fix it.
It's all right. It's focused right now.
Yeah, I had to boot up some software.
And say hi to Akira for me, even though I know we haven't talked much.
Brendan, they all said hi here.
Gumrock, since you're next in rotation, just to run you through just a little summary of what Talon said, and excuse the motorcycle that you may have heard in the background.
I did.
Talon referenced that that some of the upgrades that you saw in the tree for Halo Infinite and maybe the open worldness of Halo Infinite, it might be a little bit dodgy being incorporating some of that into the multiplayer and how it will fit into that, as well as Talon's incorporation of Halo 5's map, which was dated back to Halo 2. That didn't really work well with the sprint, and since Halo Infinite has that sprint, how are old iteration maps going to fit into the new Halo Infinite? And just from that, single player, the brutes look awful, but then again, they've always looked awful, and I think that with them having a low resolution,
The 3 brutes look better. You have to be
oh,
honest.
that's specifically just Halo 3.
Halo Reach brutes. I'm just gonna leave that there.
Oh, that is true. That is true. So
is true,
anything
yeah.
past 3, which actually just defeats my whole fucking question. But all right, we'll move on from that.
Fucked.
Thanks, buddy. When you coming over? The Banished. Something that we haven't talked about yet, and thank you, Talon, for bringing that up. And this goes out to Boris and Gabriel for future questions. And Gabriel, I know you have just a small amount of times left, so we'll try to get this along as fast as we can. We might jump from Gumrock to you and then to Boris, if that's okay.
Just let Gumrock go now. Yeah, let him.
Okay.
His thoughts.
The Banished. Why are we excited for them? And Talon hinted at being, you can sympathize with them for their cause, which is, that's the mark of a good villain, apparently.
Okay. So the Banished, I'm honestly not super informed on. I do know why they exist and what their faction, like the base of it, is about. But I do think that is going to lead to some interesting interactions because I believe at one point wasn't like the Banished and the humans like they had a common enemy at one point, and that was the Covenant, right?
Yeah.
And so now the Banished is doing whatever the fuck they're doing, and Chief's like, he needs his weapon. He's going in there. So
I don't think the Banished ever met the humans until Halo Wars 2.
They did. Well, also the Banished. So like the history of the Banished is that the Banished are, Atriox was a part of the brute suicide squads that the Covenant prophets were trying to get rid of, basically, just to kill off as many brutes as they could. And Atriox kept coming back after suicide mission after suicide mission, and was constantly alive. And so the prophets finally decided to send an elite to assassinate him, and that assassination failed. And so Atriox decided, well, fuck this. They broke the Covenant. I'm out. And so a loyal group of brutes joined him, and they started the Banished. And basically, the Banished is all of the Covenant rejects who were sent on the suicide
I guess I
missions.
just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure of what timeline that was. If that was still during the Human Covenant War or not.
It was still during the Human Covenant War.
Okay.
So that
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I hope you don't mind if I comment more on like the trailer itself.
Go ahead,
and
yeah.
gameplay.
No, that's totally fine.
All right. So from the trailer itself, like when I'm watching a game showcase or a trailer, I want to be like wowed. I want to be amazed. And when I watched it, I was like, okay. Like it didn't hit me. Like when go back and I look through old Halo videos and trailers, releases and stuff, I feel like this impact in my chest. I'm like, dude, holy shit. Even for 4 and 5, like I know they turned out to be bad games or not the best, I still felt this sort of like impact in my chest. I was like, oh yeah, Halo's coming out, dude. This is gonna be great. And just Infinite didn't feel, I don't know, powerful. It felt kind of weak, and then maybe that's because they wanted to save some stuff for later or whatnot. I'm not sure. I do like the gameplay that was shown. I think that was honestly pretty great. I like the grappling hook. I think that's going to be awesome. Sprint and the dodging stuff, I'm okay with, honestly, because obviously I'm a Reach fan, so I'm completely different than most people. So I like armor abilities. I think they're okay and they have their place as long as they're um, dealt with properly. And that's one thing that 343 kind of fucked up on, is that gameplay that they showed was captured on a PC, but like an 11th month old build. And then after the game showcase, they released a new trailer that with updated graphics, so it looks better in this new trailer. And then on their website, they released a whole statement about some of the things that we saw, particularly like the grappling hook and sprint. And they said in their community post that any armor abilities are going to be stuff that you pick up on the map. So that's what I'm happy about. That like it's not just going to be a loadout selection like in Reach or in 4.
That's
It's gonna
awesome.
be straight up on the map, and that is what will save Halo. Honestly, is
Please.
if you take. You were
I
saying.
was
Go
just gonna say
ahead.
sorry. Please, real quick, put the improved trailer in the Discord chat or in the stream
Yeah.
chat
Okay.
because
Yeah,
I've not
Yeah, because
heard seen any of this.
I've never heard of seeing any of that.
I haven't
That
either.
makes me super excited though.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really talk about it, but it was like you can look at it and it's better. It looks better.
Oh
the
yeah,
graphics
yeah.
are completely
The
different.
improved trailer is by far.
So yeah.
Where is
What
it?
was I saying? Anyways, like I wasn't excited or amazed by the trailer. I think I'm still gonna pick it up because I'm a Halo fan, and I'm hopeful that when we get the multiplayer trailer, that I will be actually amazed and actually wowed. Because the campaigns for me haven't always been the biggest thing. I enjoy multiplayer and playing with my friends. So shut up, Boris. Okay, listen. I'm an extrovert. I talk to people. I can't
That's
leave
all
you
right.
Let me
hold up.
enjoy my introvert fun, damn it.
I'm hopeful that if the multiplayer is gonna be, hopefully the reveal that we get from multiplayer will be better.
Hmm.
They could have done a much better job with the whole Xbox game showcase in general. Honestly,
yeah.
it was a little lackluster
Yep.
itself. But just to summarize, disappointed on the presentation, but the actual content that's there, I'm hopeful for, and I think it could be done well.
Okay. Okay. Now that Gumrock was done, speaking his part, and it was greatly noted. Gumrock, thank you for your insight. It, really opened up generally a lot of avenues, obviously, to talk with. But you and Gabriel have a time constraint, unfortunately. Gabriel, based off of Talon's response and Gumrock's response, and honestly, what I talked about in the question I'm about to ask you. What were your thoughts so far on our companions or our podcast mates, feelings about Halo Infinite, and what are your feelings based off of the trailer so far?
So when I first saw the trailer, I immediately thought, okay, it's level 2 of Halo 1. It's what they were going for. Immediately
Okay.
what they were going for, right?
I saw that too.
You drop off a Pelican.
I
It's
agree.
super quiet. It's nice and pretty. It's super serene. This is not Call of Duty.
Excuse me, they drop in a Bumblebee aircraft in Halo 1.
Or shut up. So,
Yeah, it's an escape pod. Also, cat.
Kitty!
Kitty.
Welcome to Kitty.
Okay.
To stream.
So initial impressions, the gunplay looked very similar to Halo 5's.
Oh, yeah, big
It
time.
looks like the Unity weapons are hit scan and the Covenant weapons aren't. They do seem to have traces on the Unity weapons. So I don't know if it's just like, because you still get that hit scan kind of like symbol. So I'm gonna just assume it's hit scan. I didn't see any dodge mechanic or any kind of dash. I didn't see that at all. I was just like rewatching like 3 times over right now. I saw zero dash or dodge.
There's a slide. There is at least a slide.
Is there?
When he's after he grapple hooks up, and then he takes care of that one guy, and then goes towards the grunts. I'm pretty sure he slides for just a moment right there.
Yep.
I think that's where he slides.
Towards the crate, he sprint slides, and then he takes out a grunt.
Okay, I have a theory where there isn't sprint. If you look at the trailer, when Master Chief is sprinting and he's waving his gun back and forth, he's not really going that fast. My theory is no. If you look at his walking speed and you see how he's running, it doesn't look any faster than Halo 3's max walking speed. It looked very slow. My theory is that is just the animation when you fully hold the stick forward. It's just the run animation, and the slide would be pushing in the thumbstick from running. Running, and there isn't actually a sprint.
Yeah.
That's my theory, because the running didn't look that fast compared to Reach, Halo 4, or 5, where sprinting is dummy fast and you're just whizzing around the map.
I could have sworn
With
though
those
I
dummy
saw a
thick cheeks.
pop-up that said like RB to sprint or something, or maybe I was just filling that in.
No,
mean-
I can't. RB to
We can go back and look at it,
RB,
but
RB.
RB
But,
to pay respects. Do it.
Unless I'm
if you're
unless I'm
right, that
tweaking,
sounds
but-
awesome. If you're right, dude, that would.
I didn't see because it can't be, because RB is to like reload and grab new weapons.
Yeah.
that is true. Yeah. I mean, I can pull it up here and
And
show it
left
on
bumper
stream.
is for the
For
grappling hook.
Oh yeah, I was
Chief
gonna
can't
say.
sprint anymore because of his dummy thick cheeks.
As far as I felt like it looked a lot more of a return to form to me. It definitely did look. The whole open world thing. When you look at the map, it does look sectioned off. So what I'm gonna assume, it's more like, I'm gonna say like Borderlands, less than Destiny, where it's just a bunch of different sandboxes, smaller sandboxes. Imagine a bunch of silent cartographers just put together
Would
with
you
different
say
layouts
it's
and different things to do.
comparable to Far Cry?
I've never played a Far Cry game, but as far as I know, Far Cry is just like a giant map.
Yeah. The Far Cry is like giant map, but each section is closed off because of a certain amount of enemies at a certain amount of levels that have different outposts throughout the area.
Oh, then yeah, sure. When he does go into the map, you do see those little hexagonal spires kind of like
Yeah, they have like
blocking different sections off.
Yep, and they have when he covered over the anti-aircraft guns, it showed the difficulty, which was normal in the trailer at least.
Right.
So it could be level locked or like I guess maybe
It's
something
possible.
else. Probably.
If that is the case, given that there's this whole upgrade system and such in a single player, I would highly assume that multiplayer would be vastly different from
I
single
would
player.
hope so.
Given that it has at this point now, it's working with a completely different, I want to say, sandbox when it comes to abilities and weapons.
Yeah.
Given that
Engine.
maps are going to be closed off, not engine, no,
Mhm.
like completely. The campaign is built around this larger area now, right? So all the stuff that Master Chief can do is based on traversal and fighting in those circumstances. In multiplayer, it's going to be much smaller maps, so they would have to obviously change a lot of things around to make sure it works for multiplayer. So if that is the case, which it looks like it would be, then the campaign and multiplayer would be very different gameplay experiences. Maybe not drastically different. Obviously, don't want to alienate fans of either, but I would say probably enough to.
What okay, to go on to that, what would you, from what we saw in the trailer, what specifically would you want moved over to multiplayer, and what would you like is only single player?
That badass grappling hook. Holy shit. Fucking love that. Dude, Halo multiplayer maps, like the big team battle maps, are so fucking big for no reason. Like, they could easily fit 32 players in there. Especially some of the CE maps. Shit, you could fit in 64 players easily.
The
They're
CE
so
maps are
fucking
ridiculously
big.
I
They're
would
so
Go on
damn
Sidewinder, dude. That's what I want.
That'd be nuts.
They're so damn big. imagine having that grappling hook. The possibilities are endless. I don't think the
I
grappling
think
hook
for me,
really.
I just want to say real quick, the grappling hooking the fusion coil and then throwing the fusion
That's so
coil.
badass.
I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
That's so badass. No, I feel like that is a valid kind of step forward from the old school arena shooter type thing that Halo 3 had going on, right? I think it, starting with Reach, it started to go more Call of Duty-esque, more Twitch shootery with abilities
Okay.
and loadouts, and they started doing more and more of that.
Mm.
Obviously, that didn't really work because the Halo player is not the Call of Duty player. The Call of Duty player
Mm-hmm.
is Twitch, fast, wants to get kills. The Halo player learns maps, learns where the weapons are on the map. It needs map control, knows how to do map control. It's
Mm.
very different. Uh, this looks like okay, we're gonna step away from that Twitch thing, that Twitch shooter thing, and we're gonna go back to the whole arena aspect, smaller movement speed, bigger emphasis on control and just kind of being this tank with this arsenal and having to take down the enemy in front of you, more so than just running around and bop bop bop. Uh, which is cool. That's cool. It's a slight return to form. That's what it looks like to me, and I'm very happy about that because that is what Halo is at its essence to me. It's just an arena shooter.
Mm.
Um, of course, the more minute things. The art style I thought looked fine, looked pretty. The entire I watching Digital Foundry's kind of breakdown on the trailer. The graphics, most of the graphics looked really bad because the entirety was in a valley, which was within shadow. And the thing about that is that uh, they're not using like RTX. So there's no real time they're not using like real time reflections or real time light bouncing off of things, which means all the light is kind of baked into models. Which means that everything kind of has this like clay like look and everything looks kind of flat, and that's the reason why there's no light bouncing off of them, so they just kind
Yeah.
of pop out. Everything looks kind of like weird and flat looking. They've obviously fixed it in post for that really nice looking trailer, and that's what most of the game is probably gonna look like when you're in the sun. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be I think I heard there's gonna be a time of day slider, so that means like it's gonna be night and it's gonna turn back to
Oh,
day.
no kidding.
When it turns to day, I'm pretty sure everything's gonna look gorgeous. Uh,
I mean, Halo 4's lighting looks, or yeah, Halo 4's lighting looks pretty good. I like the
yeah,
lighting
yeah.
specifically in Halo 4, so I'm sure Infinite's will look better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it looks. Plus, the Series X can do ray tracing. So, and all the new PC stuff does ray tracing as well. So, uh, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a setting. If I'm correct, this was supposedly running 4K 60 FPS, even though it was only streamed at 1080p. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some kind of slider to turn it like down to 1440p, but really up everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that's also going to be a thing because
Mm-hmm.
this is the new age of consoles where there's always those 2 or 3 settings to make sure you tune it to how you want it. Because this is coming on PC, I'm sure we are going to have our PC exclusive
Better have
little
that damn FOV
notches
slider.
and stuff. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure we're going to
If I'm
get
not
that.
able to play it at 800 by 600 with all the settings turned off and no anti-aliasing, and I'm playing basically pixel Halo, I don't know. I don't know if it's really going to be worth playing on PC.
But
Truthfully.
allegedly this demo was ran on a PC.
It
Really?
was, yes.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was.
Because
So
I was
That's
curious
what they,
about that.
Yeah, they revealed that after the trailer that it was running on a PC with Series X like specs, whatever the hell that
I don't
means.
know
probably
what
like
the
a 2080
fuck
Super. Probably like
that
a
means.
2080 Super, maybe 2070 Super, which is
No,
great because then
Super, Mega
everyone
XL
has like a
10.
2080 Super or 2080 Ti.
Not a
Is
2080 Super. Probably something a little bit lower than that. Maybe a 2060.
maybe 2060 Super, 2070, probably around
I
there.
wonder what the frame rate is going to be, because I think when I was watching the trailer, it looked like they were going, because it's going to be on PC and console, and they want it to run at like 60 FPS, and more like people are using monitors that are like higher and higher refresh rates. I'm using a 240 right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's also part of the reason why it seems like they were going for scaled back graphics and more of a stylized look rather than Halo 4 or 5, where it's all about like really, really high fidelity models with like really intricate textures. Because I think it looks like it's going to be a game that's going to run good. I don't think it's going to be. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
still going to
know.
be a game that's going to be hard for most PCs to hit, maybe past the 200s, 300 range.
Mm.
But it still looks like it's going to be able to get up there. It's not looks like it's going to be like a maybe a crisis where you're gonna like a crisis back in the day where you're maybe like who's gonna max out Halo at like the most settings. I don't think it's gonna be that, but I kind of like that more. I like that it has stylized and like that it's built for more people to be able to play it and it still look pretty good. So
No, I agree. I mean, that was always Halo's art style, right? Because they would needed to do all these very different designs for this alien-looking thing. You know, Bungie was big on world building, and they had to do it on a thing with like, what was it, like 100 something megabytes of RAM,
Yeah.
which was the original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then they had to iterate on that. So he's like, well, how do we iterate? We just kind of keep things very basic, but then make the details kind of stand out. So they make the metals look super shiny because it's super alien and made everything look like pearlescent and stuff, and that's what made it different. This seems to be going back to that design, much like Halo Wars 2 also brought it back originally, which makes it look amazing. That does also allow them to do a lot more with the graphics because now the art design doesn't need a bunch of resources just for like player models, for
Mm-hmm.
example. Uh, which my guess is that I don't know about 300 FPS, maybe like 100 FPS on everything max settings, but if I am correct, there probably is going to be I think they said there's going to be a day 1 RTX patch, like real-time ray tracing patch for Infinite.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that's going to come to PC, bless you. It's going to come to PC. That's going to come to Xbox. And for the PC player, ray tracing does cut a ton of FPS.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so running everything at max, if it runs at 100 FPS, if you do turn on ray tracing, it's probably gonna end up blocking to 60, which is fine. You can turn it off if you don't want it to run
Mm.
like super high on your campaign. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, I was I was in this weird boat of like I kind of felt myself be excited, but still a little weary
Yeah.
because while on like 5 they showed us a lot more now. Uh, it's still not that much. They only showed us like
Mm-hmm.
was it like 10 minutes, 8 minutes,
8 minutes and 40 seconds. I think.
9 minutes.
Wasn't even 8 minutes.
Was it
Yeah.
even?
So
Okay.
Well, I mean, there was not even 8 minutes of actual gameplay. It was more like
Oh,
maybe
cutscene.
6.
So probably 6 minutes. Yeah.
while they're not trying to shove millions of dollars worth of advertisement investments down our throat to make us believe the game is something it isn't, and they are showing us gameplay, it is nowhere near enough to really put a pin on what Infinite is. It looks promising. It looks very promising.
Do
We
you
still don't
think
know
that-
anything about the multiplayer,
do
but
you think that might be because 5 might have broke your 4 and 5 might have broke your trust a little bit? Because it did mine. Do you think it might have been because of that?
oh, for sure. I mean, 343 isn't Bungie. You know, Bungie
Yep.
has a very, even when you play Destiny, shit. Destiny feels a little like Halo.
Mhm.
If you really pick up on the game design of Bungie, if you've ever analyzed the way Bungie really likes to do their things, uh, Destiny does feel like an expansion from whatever they did on Halo.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like Halo, but you get what I mean. 343 isn't Bungie, so they obviously have to almost like reverse engineer whatever Bungie did to make their game so popular. The first game, they're like, okay, no, we're gonna do our thing. It's gonna be a space opera, and we're gonna do this and that. We're gonna make it this multiplayer, and people are like, I don't know about that. Some people liked it. Some people are like, yeah, man, take the reins, do your thing. And some people are like, this isn't Halo. I'm more on the this isn't Halo kind of crew. But I know Boris is more on like, oh yeah, that's fine kind of crew. Yeah, kind of, not 100%.
Well, we'll get to my opinions here
Yeah.
last.
And then Halo 5 was just like a complete deviation of like, okay, what are you even doing? This is nowhere near good. The only good thing I remember of Halo 5 is that one St. Helios mission because the level design is absolutely gorgeous. That's it. So now it looks like 343 is like, okay, maybe let's try to emulate Bungie and let's do some more modern things like more open worlds and RPG elements, which everything has nowadays. And it might just work because it's really hard to fuck that up, to be honest. They could, but it looks fine.
Okay. So your overall feeling would be optimistic or, um,
Optimistic,
this
but with
shit.
like reservations. Maybe taking things with a little bit of salt, a little bit of grain of salt.
okay, so you're weary of the release of it. You're not entirely committed, but you're just
I'm
testing
gonna
the
buy it.
waters.
I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
Even if what they show, it's like, wait a minute, this is starting to be a deviation from. Even if it's a deviation from what we got in these 8 minutes, I'm still gonna buy it. I'm still gonna play it because I still want to form my own opinions. But
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I'd say I'm feeling good.
Okay.
This looks better than 4 and 5, I'd say.
Yeah. I think we can all share your slate optimism, and it is duly noted. And I, wrote a ton of notes about what you said, especially. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, those in the podcast and those in the audience, our friend Gabriel is going to have to take an early leave here. He has prior arrangements, but can we all give some love in
He's gotta go
chat
buy some cigarettes at the
and
store.
podcast for Gabriel for really giving his own perspective on things and really showing a different side of the topic that we didn't think we could possibly reach, especially not me, because Gabriel has taught me a lot as far as talking and whatnot. He's a great friend of mine. So put your 07s in chat, your salutes, and Gabriel, once again, thank you so much for
night,
being on
everybody.
this podcast. I greatly
I
appreciate
love you.
it.
Have my children.
I
I
will.
love you too. Gummy
I
gorgeous.
will.
I love
Catch
you,
you.
but I don't trust you with my kids.
Just letting you guys know, I
Okay.
do stream on twitch.tv/Gabriel Bananas. In 2 days, I'm gonna stream the new game from the Microsoft press conference, Grounded, because it's Honey I Shrunk the Kids and The Forest put together. It looks fucking amazing.
It looks so good.
It looks
I
so
wanna
good.
play
It
that
looks
game.
so damn good. It looks so good. Plus, it's made by Obsidian. Obsidian makes amazing games. And I'm
Yeah.
also gonna be streaming Destroy All Humans, the remake, because it's an amazing game and everyone should play it.
Well,
I still
Gabe,
can't believe they came out of nowhere.
for sure. Guys, if you haven't already, thank you, Gabe, for plugging yourself. If you guys haven't already, head on over to
Jim's
twitch.tv/Gabriel Bananas. He is 100 times more enthusiastic, alive, just inversed in his stream than I would think I am. So please head on over there, give him some love, follow
I don't know,
him.
bro. You changed your shirt like 3 times in the last hour.
All right, listen, bro. I'll do something. I can't say anything else. I don't want to get demonetized. So anyways, thank you very much, Gabe. I appreciate it. I will see you 2 Sundays from now for episode 3.
Yeah.
We've decided to
For
take
sure, you will see me there.
Glad to hear it. We've decided to take TrashCast every other week. That way our members can be prepared for it. So, yeah, once again, Gabe, thank you. And I appreciate you being here. Appreciate it.
Good night,
you being
everybody.
here. Good
Stay
night.
safe.
Good night, Gabe.
Alrighty. And
Thank God
so
he's
there
gone.
were
In the chat,
3. Oh,
Oh
my
my
God,
God.
Talon, bro.
Thank God he's gone.
Jesus, bro. You,
Oh,
Bro, what? Don't go on my mans like that.
that was a joke.
So-
awesome.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you enjoy
Also,
my friends.
thank you, Isaac Heroes, for the gifted sub in the chat. By the way, thank you.
I would have said that. I'm just trying to, be a host.
I
and
wanted
stuff, so.
wanted to be.
Well, I'm
safe.
glad you're taking up the mantle here. So thank you, Isaac, as well as Talon said. Thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. I appreciate it, Isaac. You do more for this community than a lot of other people, and that's all I can say. Anyways, so all right, Boris, we'll talk after stream, okay, honey? With that being said,
Oh.
once again, thank you, Gabe, for being a part of the stream. I appreciate it, man. Hope you have a good night. Just before we head on to any further topics, Gumrock, you said you would have to leave eventually as well. What time do you have to leave?
Probably in about 20 minutes, but let Boris speak, please.
Okay, yeah. We'll
Oh my
we'll get
God,
to
I'm
Boris,
dying.
and then we'll end off the rest with most likely me, Talon, and Boris, which is not bad at all.
It's-
So
I actually have to leave, Brendan. You smell bad. Can't stand it. Sorry.
You know what?
You stink.
You know what? You kind of got me.
Smell like trash.
Trash.
So, Boris, with everything
Oh
that's
my
been said so far,
God.
fucking guy, you kidding me? So,
I'm cautiously optimistic.
okay, so you're in the
but-
same boat as work or Gabriel, excuse me.
I don't know. I'm kind of like Gumrock, where I saw the trailer and I wasn't like wowed. More of good they did that. Good they did that. Good they did that. But and the optimistic side of me is based on what they showed and the vibe I'm getting from it is I think there's a lot more to come. Now we've thrown this about and I don't know what it's been officially said by 343 if Halo 5 has like been retconned in any way. I know we're saying like soft reboot or soft this or like story wise. Personally, I wasn't expecting any story from that trailer. And I know a bunch of people are like, "What's happening? I thought Cortana killed everybody." I'm sure we'll find that out once the story starts. My headcanon right now is the reason the Banished were able to beat the UNSC is because Cortana did her thing at the end of Halo 5. The UNSC was drastically weakened, and the Banished were like, pulling up on the curve. I'm like, I see you're down on your knees. Let me just roundhouse you, kick you in the face real quick, and finish you. So I mean that's the lore-wise, but I just watched the improved graphics trailer while Gabe was talking. Does look a bit better. I will say I think what he was talking about with the lighting is it did look flat. Things looked very flat, and I think with the better trailer and as they enter a better zone, it'll look better. But first impressions were, I am so glad the original Elite design is back. It looks like they kind of copy and pasted Halo 2 Anniversary's Elites. Which is fine. I thought Halo 2 Anniversary's art style was pretty good. It was a nice mesh of like Reach and Halo 3's art styles.
Okay.
But the one key thing that I did notice that I love is that the Elite's movements, at least footwork, looked exactly like it was in Reach, which makes me excited because that means hey, hard Elites are gonna come back. And as we learned last night, Halo Reach Elites are a bitch.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited. The grunts, they seem to have gone back art style wise with like they kept one of the same armor types from Halo 4, and then they're like, well, okay, we'll roll back and give them like the orange suit from like Halo 1 or something. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. You nailed the art style in like Halo 2, Halo 3, even into Reach, like just giving them different grunts, more specialized uniforms for like different roles. Why change that? That's not broken with that, but I don't know. The brutes are kind of cool because it kind of look like they're a mix of like Halo 3s. Like some of them have like the classic Halo 3 grunt brute infantry look, along with some of the specialized banished armor. Weapons, I was a little disappointed of what they chose to show off. Like, I don't know. I guess just none of it. Like the human weapons look all kind of cool, but like the Covenant ones were just like I don't know. Like they have the Mangler, which appears to be like a Mauler but a Magnum.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, just bring back the Mauler. And I'm dying for just a classic plasma rifle. But because each weapon looks specialized, if you pause and look at the weapons as he's picking them up, there's like it's plasma carbine burst, it's something burst. I'm like, okay, so there might be having tons of different stylized weapons, which could be fine and interesting as long as they like bring back a lot of classic weapons. I'm always upset when they introduce a weapon and then take it out in the next game. When there wasn't anything like inherently broken with it. But we also didn't see dual wielding. I gotta see dual wielding back at some point, pretty please. So that's kind of more of a hope. But yeah, what I think Talon mentioned it with the upgrades tab when he looked at the map. I'm not sure. I think he was looking at it more of like a multiplayer, like, okay, good, this might separate things out from the multiplayer. I'm kind of more looking at it as it is definitely going to be pseudo open world. Like you'll find stuff as you go as Master Chief, and you gotta upgrade your grappling arm or something, or upgrade your shield or something like that. It does look like it'll be area to area pseudo open world, like, okay, you did everything and beat the boss in this area. Okay, now you'll go to the next section of the ring. It definitely looks like it's gonna be like it looks like they're gonna take Halo 1's campaign and like, well, the one thing they did with Halo 1's campaign and they didn't really emphasize on is like, in the second mission, Cortana's like, we can coordinate an effective resistance, and it kind of emphasizes, oh, there might just be this whole guerrilla warfare against the Covenant on the ring. Like slowly chipping them away at, and then that whole goes out the window because introduced Flood, which is not a bad thing. Halo 1's its story is fine, but it kind of seems like that's what they're going to focus on with, if they're going to be doing more of an open world thing, where it's just like, yeah, you're going to chip away at the Banish, and as a chief, you're going to organize all the Marine units' resistance, and you're going to hopefully strike back against, like, the final is going to be taking on Atriox and probably Cortana at the end of the game. Which has me like, could be really interesting. We'll see how it plays out. We'll only know more as they may release more trailers and gameplay.
Hey, Boris, have you seen the E3 2002 trailer for Halo CE?
You talking about the one where they go down into the pit and they're like, something's not right, and the elites kill them, they all run back up?
No, I think it was either a trailer or a gameplay demo they did, but like they show the main part of main part of the trailer is they show that like these vast big open worlds, and then you actually get into Halo, and it's it's more close quarters and it's a linear kind of thing. So do you think I at least from my perspective, it looks like they're kind of looking back at CE at what they did and into trailer and actually bring that to Aclu.
It kind of feels like a pseudo, like they're going to go back to that, because Halo. I was going to mention this. Halo was originally, and most of us know this, Halo was originally planned as an RTS. So it kind of looks like they're going to go back to those, what Bungie originally was trying to do with first Halo, and make it a little bit more like open, like with the open world aspect. And then like they kind of condensed it down into the first person shooter, which honestly was the right move, which probably got off it. Yeah. It's the reason why it took off, because they condensed it. But because we have all the shit now, you have this whole world developed, and especially like, I know I'm like, I better see the Arbiter. We better see Mendicant Bias at the end of this. Like, they teased it at the end of Halo 3, and they've hinted at it long, kind of throughout the other games that they've released, especially with...
We might see June.
We might see June. June might show up again, which is really cool. God, I hope Buck shows up, because he was one of the only redeeming qualities of Halo 5. I gotta have my man Buck. I feel like there's a cast of characters that they need to bring back, and making it more of an open world, larger story, kind of hopefully will squeeze everything in. Because the one thing we did not get, and I think, and this is honestly, I'm a bit of a heretic here, I didn't play Halo 5. It came out for the Xbox One, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not buying an Xbox One. And I watched many playthroughs of the campaign and was still like, eh.
Don't feel bad, Boris. I didn't either. My brother had the Xbox One, and I said, all right, let me see if it's worth it. And I tried to play it for 3 hours, and I just put it down and said no.
Yep, same here.
I played the multiplayer. Sorry, I played the multiplayer at a con for like 2 hours, and I was like, eh.
I at least try to keep up with stories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's about it.
And like, I think this is the reason why I don't have as much of a negative opinion on 4 and 5 as I think Gabriel does, is that there's hints here and there in the stories that aren't bad. That I appreciate, that like the direction that 343 is trying to go for. It's just kind of like the execution. Like the whole idea of Halo 5 story is not bad, but like the fact that they hyped it up to be Rogue Master Chief against Locke, and they have a small fist fight. It was just awful. And I know some people who know Blue Team way better than I do. They butchered some of their story there, but I was just like,
yeah.
oh great, they brought back all these characters, and I don't know. The only thing that I was a little upset was just seeing Buck become a Spartan. I'm like, no, Buck will always be an ODST. How dare you make him a Spartan?
Well, to be fair, in canon, June originally asked him to join the Spartan 3 or 4 program, and he turned it down. And he was always on the list to eventually become a Spartan.
Yes,
Even
you
during
are.
the, and then eventually, after everything, he got whittled down, and he said, "Okay, fine, I'll be a
Yeah,
Spartan."
I think it's honestly because of what happened to Rookie.
Yeah, it's what happened to Rookie.
Yeah, okay, I figured. I'm not 100% clear on that, but after Rookie died, he was like, "Fuck it, I gotta do it."
He didn't. He did basically because after Rookie died, he didn't want to lose any more crew members, and so he's also not the only one who went to the. It's the Spartan 4 program he did, right?
Yeah,
I think it's Spartan 4. The entire ODS team did Spartan, and that's also, I think, I don't know if they make an appearance in 5, but I remember when I was watching something earlier, that it's assumed that Buck and his whole team might actually show up in Infinite.
Oh god, I hope Dutch and Mickey both show up.
We'll have to see. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short. Although it was going hot, you guys are flaming with passion. Gumrock, unfortunately, has to leave us, which marks the end and start of 2 different conversations. So, Gumrock, formerly known as Mike. Mike, thank you very much for joining us here. And even though you didn't get as much talking time as a lot of the other guests, I greatly appreciate your insight and your in-depth, own personal analysis on some of the subjects we talked about.
Honestly, I don't view this as a podcast. I just like looking at these guys because they're hot as fuck. No, but seriously, thank you for having me as always. Again, I have a YouTube channel, Gumrock YT on YouTube. I think if you do !gum or something, I don't know. I'm in there somewhere, and I appreciate you for having me on.
Definitely.
Dude, I will definitely do this again. Thank you to everyone in chat. You guys are amazing. And I love Halo, and I'm excited for Halo Infinite. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Gum. And
Peace out, guys.
Hope you a good rest of your Sunday.
Peace out, bitches.
Everybody, 07s in chat for Gumrock.
07s in chat for Gumrock.
Unfortunately, there is no exclamation point Gum.
Oh, I did 07. Oh no.
That's okay. 0 or 07.
07.
Red
Yeah,
Raven,
yeah.
where's that 07?
Betrayal.
Betrayal.
Okay, so just to close off a couple of the talking points that Boris and Gumrock made, and as well as Talon interjecting from here and there, which once again, Talon, I cannot stop but just compliment you for your tenacity and your social skills, because you're definitely bringing counter arguments to the table that some people on here might not share, and I greatly appreciate that, because I love the different kinds of ways you can come at something.
You should just tell me before every podcast what everybody thinks, and I'll come in and I'll be like, excuse me, but
I don't fucking think so, but I'd love to do that, but I like to keep the element of surprise, so I don't want to spoil anybody's insights to certain things. But to close off our Halo Infinite segment, and just for both of your sakes, our Ashes of Creations thing, I know neither of you probably know anything about it, and
I was gonna wait for you to try and sell the game to me, because I've been looking at it.
Yeah, sell it.
Yeah.
Sell it to
Okay.
me.
So
Can I say one more thing to close it Infinite?
sure. Well, we're
Bring
gonna
back
talk
the original
about
fucking Warthog sound.
it. You think
Was
so?
it different?
It was different. Yes.
Oh no.
It's the shitty
It's
1
the
through 4 and
Forza.
5.
It's from Forza. It's the same noise you
Yeah,
get from the
it's
Forza
only
thing.
I wholeheartedly will like just like 343 besides some of the
Oh,
art style.
Now that you said the Forza thing, that's why that model looks so familiar. It's
Yep,
literally
it's
the same
straight.
model.
Yeah, it's straight from Forza Horizon 7 or something, I think.
It literally, even the gas canisters in the back were the
Oh
same.
yeah, no, it literally looks like it's been
Been that way
ripped from
since
Forza.
4. Yeah.
I'm so disappointed now.
But
All right, game's bad. No, and this is
fucking that's
Infinite's
a
awful.
fucking that's a
Infinite's
0
awful.
out of 5 on Yelp, dude.
0
But
out of 5.
so to wrap up Infinite, because I know Boris just hinted at it, but I have a couple of things that I want to ask before we move on to Ashes of Creations, an MMO that we're going to be talking about very briefly. We're not going to get in depth into it. It's not going to take an hour long. The longest it'll go is 30 minutes, because I know normally I think last podcast was 4 hours long. We're gonna cut this one short because of time constraints. But Halo Infinite, Boris, you said that you were cautiously optimistic, and you were sort of you kind of fell along the lines of what Gumrock said in the retrospect, that you're not wowed by the trailer that you're shown, but you think they showed some promising aspects in the trailer.
I think it has a lot of potential. If what I think they're going for, they'll go for, which is why I want to stand on the sidelines and be like, all right, don't be too eager. Don't be eager of a beaver.
Yeah.
But I think the campaign has the possibility of being at least really enjoyable gameplay wise and customization wise. I cannot say anything about the story, but I think if they bring back this cast of characters, they bring back like every kind of little type of enemy, including the Flood. We're on a Halo ring. It's if they don't bring back the Flood in this one, it's gonna be totally missed opportunity.
Well, essentially, wasn't the Flood wiped out during Halo 3? Or am I incorrect? Oh, God damn it. What do you mean? God damn it, Trash.
Oh, Talon, I don't have the willpower to educate him on this.
No. The Flood still exists.
The Flood still exists in many places.
In many, many places. The
Okay.
great.
You didn't even play Halo Wars 2 or even look at it.
I didn't. I wanted to, but I don't have the money for it.
The Grave Mind is still alive.
Okay.
The Grave Mind is
is it still confirmed still alive?
I think it is, because I don't think they ever
I
actually
thought
killed the Grave Mind.
I thought the Grave Mind was killed when it was trying to rebuild itself on the remake Halo, and then the remake Halo
yeah.
exploded.
So maybe the Grave Mind's not alive, but there's other Grave Minds. That's also the problem.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, Talon. As I think you know, the Grey Mind is always still alive.
Yeah.
But its current form, the most current form we know it was destroyed. I'm pretty sure.
And like
Trash. Basically, each of the rings still have Flood on them.
Oh,
And,
okay.
The what's left of High Charity on the Ark still has Flood contained on it.
Okay, all right. And if there's one, it can.
And there's still possibly Flood in Dark Space, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from that, just to wrap this up as quickly as possible. Now, I think it was Boris who said it, but there was you said on some of the different UNSC weapons there was a little a HUD space where it's, or like in the map it said that burst fire or single fire.
I don't think it was on the UNSC. I think I saw it on some of the Covenant.
On
it just
Covenant?
makes me think
Okay.
they'll have different like in Halo 2 Anniversary they have the SMG and then the suppressed SMG.
So that asks us,
hopefully have something like that.
that begs the question: do you see possible weapon customization in Halo Infinite?
I think that would be fine. I think because of the different ways they've shown it to be, I think that's totally cool. I think honestly, because Halo's had a wide range of like weapons that them taking this long to add something like that is a little astonishing. But I know I don't want full like Call of Duty loadout. I just want to be like, I want to have a battle rifle or like, DMR that does like this or something, just small things.
Okay.
I personally want it to, if it's there, I want it to stay in single player. There's
Yeah.
like a lot of the innovation and the cool stuff, the customization. I want it to stay in single player. Make the single player really cool, and by all means, make it not only single player, make it in the co-op single player, right? Like make
Yeah.
it co-op campaign, have all that fucking cool shit.
Something
That'd be
like Dying
awesome.
Light.
Yeah, like that. That'd be dope, dude.
That would be cool.
I want that, but like multiplayer, I seriously want, because as much as I said like I wasn't enjoying 3 as much as I like to, 3 has the best balancing because everything has a purpose. Every gun has its place. Every gun has its role in terms of the gun balancing, and then like we were talking about movement, like the maps also just play better because everybody's moving at the same speed. It's like you can actually have choke points and like areas that are unaccessible, and that like things just kind of fit and flow better. So for me, all this cool shit like the sprint, like I'm cool with it. I just want it in single player, and if it's in multiplayer, like Mike said, if it's available as like a power weapon type of thing where you have to pick it up and you have to actually earn it and then it becomes useful, that'd be dope. Like the grappling hook. If on some maps there's a grappling hook spawn, and like one team can pick up the grappling hook and that one person flies around the map like fucking Batman and blowing people up with a sniper, dude, that's cool. That's fine. Like that's
That'd
cool.
be, you'd make it kind of like a mix of like how you could pick up the power ups and reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the reach power up system was that bad. I think it was flawed, and I don't think all the power ups were really that well thought out for multiplayer. I think they really were good for single player, but I don't think they were that well thought out for multiplayer. So if they want to treat all that cool stuff like power ups, and I think sprint being a power up is, I always thought was weird, but even if they wanted sprint to be a power up, like I'm fine with it.
To be fair, what multiplayer game these days does not have sprint? Like
That is
I
true.
Kind
Yep.
of given that up.
Yeah,
To be like
and-
sprint's gonna be in a game.
That's like I think when I talked about earlier, like the generational gap. I don't want sprint, but I know probably a majority of the younger audience, more casual audience, wants sprint.
Yep.
And sprint does have its advantages. It speeds up the flow of games, but then if it's speeding up the flow of games, I wonder what the TTK is for multiplayer. That's going to be a really big question because 5 and 4. The TTKs with some of the battle rifles was a few bursts. It was really, really quick. And in 3, when we play 3, like Brendan, I was like, firefights last seconds. You can count how long they actually last.
I want Halo 1 pistol TTK.
I do like, I like fast TTK, but it's Halo game, so it can't be Call of Duty fast. It needs to be in that Goldilocks, and I think with the sprint being in there and with the Dark Simulator 4 and 5, even if they're going to return, it's still going to be like a faster time to kill than say Halo 3. And that makes me kind of excited because I do think now playing Halo 3 again, I don't think the TTK is part of it that brings itself well to PC as much, because PC, I like fast flicky aim. Like I have the good aim, I want to use it, and long drawn out firefights just don't tend to feel like your aim is a big part of winning them as much versus just who gets that first shot off and gets the most bursts. So I definitely am, like, I'm optimistic. I think there's so many things that could be right, but it's a AAA title. It's 343. I'm like you said, are cautiously optimistic. There's definitely potential there. This could be the next renaissance of Halo. I actually wanted to touch on one thing though. Is like, if you guys remember when Halo 3 came out and it was the end of that trilogy, the marketing for Halo 3 fucking slapped.
Oh yeah,
That
big
shit
time.
slapped. Do you remember the in-person guy going into like the Halo Covenant War Museum talking about how Master Chief saved him like over a flipped warthog, and they built in-person spikers, and then they had the live action like fighting the brutes on Earth, and then they had the whole finish the fight campaign. Dude, that marketing was on top. If they can pull out that same marketing rollout in these next couple of months, I know with COVID it's gonna probably be a lot harder, but if they can do something like that and roll that out, I don't think this game can fail, and I really want that. I think I would love that. Yeah, I just straight up love that. I love that marketing campaign. That
Well, the
campaign
only
was awesome.
To be
issue
fair,
with
I
that,
think they've kind of started that with that Become trailer. They've just started the first live
Yeah,
action.
it definitely it did look like it's starting there. Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. With that being said, we obviously have shared our respective feelings on Halo Infinite and our hopes and, kind of worries about what it could be, what it might become. We're going to move on to our last and final talking point here, which will be the fastest, which is a game that I stumbled across a couple of days ago called Ashes of Creation, an MMO that is in early development right now. And for those of you who don't know what it is, and to my podcast mates here, I will run you through it. It is a open world MMO that takes place within a medieval fantasy setting, blending imagination with cutting edge graphics. Assuming cutting edge. I watched gameplay for it. It's like World of Warcraft. But they are putting a lot of effort into massive multiplayer with a unique spin on it, bringing meaning to player action. This includes nodes, housing, questing, sieges, player versus environment, player versus player, caravans, trade routes, crafting and gathering, all which affect not only your relations with other players, but relations with the areas that you're in. Factions or guilds or whatnot can, own their own castles, which could be sieged by other factions, so there could be faction wars. Nodes specifically, if a group of players gather in a certain node and start farming XP there, slowly a town or a little campsite will appear, and from that campsite it can be upgraded to a village, then to a town, then to a city, then to a castle, stuff like that. And with caravans yield higher reward. If you want to get more gold for doing a certain quest or gathering materials, you can either turn it in, get 500 gold, or you can put it on the caravan and get 1,000 gold, or maybe like 12,000 gold. So you have to protect the caravan from either enemies or other players that intend to attack the caravan, and there are certain consequences on whether or not it wins or fails. Same with your house. You can buy one house per account, which can be rated essentially if it's within a node that gets rated. You'll only lose a certain portion of your stuff. It really tackles all aspects of every big game MMO that has been out so far, that being Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy 14 Online, Black Desert, Terra, and World of Warcraft. It really combines all these different metrics and mashes them together for the ultimate MMO combination, in hopes that it will, become the MMO of MMOs, which would be awesome to hear. I mean, I know, Boris, you're not much of an MMO player yourself, but I have played MMO
I'll
in
let
my
you
day.
finish.
Okay, all right, let me finish, and then you can, spit some game. But I have played MMOs here and there, and I mean, the only one that's come close to satisfying my MMO hunger has been Final Fantasy, personally. Not only for the social aspect, but the gameplay aspect as well, which a lot of people don't realize, that MMOs are a really social game compared to other games. Okay, Boris. But nonetheless, that is what the game is about. I definitely encourage you to go over there and check what it looks like, because obviously I can't do it justice. You need to hear it from the website or the videos that are out there. Hear it from them, because they are more than equipped to tell you about it than I am. So, without further ado, Boris, you seem like you wanted to, spit some game
Were
at
you
me.
sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends?
I was not, but I am definitely excited for this game, so I wanted to talk about it.
All right. Were you sponsored by this game at all? You have to disclose.
No, I wasn't. I watched one video on YouTube of Summit1G talking to a creative director of the game, and I was like, yeah, I'm sold.
I will say first of all, the MMO killer, like, uh, nothing's gonna bring down WoW until WoW dies. Sorry to break anyone's bubble. WoW is still on top of all the MMOs, and it will continue to be.
Okay. Okay.
Um, until it dies. It's just how it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
got
yeah.
too dedicated of a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds ambitious. It does sound like it could be really fun, and it
Mhm.
definitely appeals to PC players because, who wants to be the person who drives the truck down the highway to supply the person, and then you get everyone who buys EU Trucking Simulator 2019. Yeah, monotonous things like that. People were gonna buy it. It sounds really cool. It sounds ambitious. It sounds like a lot of MMO. I'm gonna be frank with it. It sounds like a lot of MMOs and things I've heard before.
Mm.
So I'd be happy. I would be happy to be proven wrong and it turn out to be really, really good and it be really successful and it become the next super popular thing because I did a quick Google search of it before the stream and looks like just visually it looks like it could be interesting.
Yeah.
But it is a lot, and the fact that it is an early access game makes me very, very wary.
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
people say it's too good to be true.
Yeah, yeah. And I hate to be such a cynical person about that, but I'm like, it's a lot of MMOs start. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe we'll keep our eye on it.
Definitely
Um,
something to watch in the future.
yeah. And I've played my share of MMOs. I played a shit ton of WoW back in the day. I played SWTOR on release, and then I played SWTOR on and off a little bit.
Okay.
Um, and then I want to say I played Terra briefly, and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I always go back to WoW here and there, just because more than anything, I love that universe.
Mm-hmm.
I was sold because I played Warcraft 3 back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, and it's still good. I love the mechanics of it, and like it's fun tackling. I even one of my most recent experiences at Minnow was fun tackling within like a week or two launch of the game, tackling one of the quote unquote not like I guess at the time it was one of the hard dungeons at that time, and putting it on like the top difficulty and trying to run through it and being
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, we wiped like fucking 35 times, but it was like we were learning the boss each time like we do it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like only the hardcore people have done this, and we're just a pug group of people that beat something. So like I love the appeal, and uh, it's just I had a core group of people like with my cousins and a couple other people when I was in high school, and ever since then I've not found a core group of people to play MMOs that I feel like start something with.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a part of growing up too, but it does sound interesting. Like if you're able to build a whole town, and like as someone who loves like building simulators and MMOs, it's kind of like, oh yeah, the fact that my actions can have a huge impact on what's going on around me, that sounds really cool.
Mm.
Um because it'd be like, oh yeah, we can band together and group up and build this base. And like for people who don't feel like the fighters, it's like, I'm gonna stay by and help optimize the base while those who love combat can go out and help defend it, and then I'll be logistic support. And so everyone's got a specialized role in that. Kind
Yeah.
of like everyone needs a healer or a DPS and a tank. It kind of branches out from that.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Talon, what do you think about Ashes of Creation? Obviously, we've already touched on the fact that it's too good to be true, and Boris has definitely has put some well-needed light on that idea that every MMO seems to promise that idea, but fails to deliver on a lot of outlets. That it is not gonna hit every single market that it promises to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to be echoing very similar sentiment. My
Okay.
MMO experience is probably pretty limited. I played RuneScape and back in the day. Then I was a MapleStory head. Then I played a bit of Mabinogi, so I was a Nexon kid for quite some time. And then I've only recently played a little bit of SWTOR. did play City of Heroes for a bit, but never anything to where I ever got to even late game of any of those games except for Maple Story. Um, and I mean, I've stayed as much as I could in like the relevant news of like the game design industry for quite some time because I wanted to become a game designer at one point,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of the stuff that sounds too good to be true. The gameplay, when I was watching it, it didn't look like what I guess I would envision and it would want it to, that a procedurally generated world where like things and your actions have consequences. So it sounds interesting to me, but I think obviously for myself, I know what has kept me from playing MMOs this entire time, and what I've always kept me away from them essentially was that I never liked um I never got the pull of wanting to play a game that I didn't really have any sort of skill in
Mm.
timing my actions and placing them. Like I always felt like when I watched a really high level WoW player, it was click some hotkeys, click some hotkeys, click some hotkeys. And I know it's not that much now, but like it's never pulled me in versus like again Counter-Strike, I'm probably going to mention it every time I talk about a game's design. um, but it's just, really simple mechanics. It's always involved. It's a first person game. And so it's not something that's going to pull me in. I mean, a game to me that like I've always wanted to play in MMOs like Elder Scrolls Online. It looked at least a little bit more up my alley with like, okay, if you're an archer, you actually have to hit him with a bow. You don't point and click and bow go hitty. So, um, but I mean, just because it's not for me doesn't mean it looks like it's a bad game. I would be cautious because so many different online games have promised the absolute moon and then failed it. The only one that I know that has constantly been providing fantastic content and improving upon itself every single iteration would be earlier versions of WoW and then EVE Online. And those are really the only
Oh
two.
yeah, Eve.
And Eve is and Black Desert even you could say. Some people really really do like Black Desert Online, but Eve Online in particular to me is what this is almost kind of screaming like it's trying to be the fantasy Eve Online. And Eve Online works because it's in space. It works because
Yeah.
resources are a data spreadsheet. But when resources have a finite location, I mean, how do you not just have it where a group of players go, hey, let's go mine all of the ore in this area and then log off and then move to a different server.
Yeah.
So now nobody in the entire area has iron and they have to buy it through us or
Mm-hmm.
something. It policing those areas, if you know any of the fun, absolutely. If you ever get bored looking up the history of all the clan fights that happen in EVE Online, they are a trip.
Oh,
But
there have been real life like trails. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
it's
for Eve.
fantastic. But the amount of rules that Eve has to put in place to like keep Eve even itself, where it's basically is just a bunch of spreadsheets, keep it safe from trolls and everybody's like the economy rolling, is not something I believe will fit well into that space. I could be proven wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing about Ashes in particular a long time ago and being like, okay, maybe somebody can pull it off, but you're talking really intricate systems that you would have
Oh,
to
yeah.
have in place. And could a not really big known studio pull that off of a Kickstarter
Mm-hmm.
when they're already paid to just make it look like they did that? I don't like for example on the base building. Like I just when I was watching gameplay, I watched them build a building, and the building built itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like a Minecraft. I was building my building and it became my own thing. It was a set location. A building started building up. So they did build the town, but the town was always going to look that way.
Mm-hmm.
You just whether it's built or not depended on how much the player base is actually put into it. So I think it's not going to fulfill everybody's imagination where we're one day going to be able to play Sword Art Online, but I do think at least is a step in the right direction that there is still demand there
Mm.
for people wanting that. And I mean every game that comes out I think we get at least a step closer to it.
Yeah.
That model that will finally be as close to it as we can get will happen. And I mean there are already some actually if you want to play something probably close to that, I would definitely look into playing some hardcore Minecraft servers that build up their own economy that have a bunch of plugins and mods.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
it almost sounded like it sounds like you just want to play Minecraft. At the end of the day, it's like sounds like you just want to play Minecraft. You just don't really want it to be blocks. So I don't know. Like Star Citizen to me was like the golden child of Kickstarter games that
Mhm.
looked
Oh,
like it was gonna
Jesus.
be
Yep.
like the holy grail and save us all from this awful existence we live in without being able to walk into a spaceship and then turn it on by pressing all the buttons.
Mhm.
But like you guys are probably aware of the absolute massive amounts of controversy that game is now swapped in
Oh
of it
yeah.
just never coming out.
Elite Dangerous is now the one closest thing you get to that.
Oh
yeah, now it's been overtaken by Elite Dangerous, and I mean Elite Dangerous is great too, but like it's still like these Kickstarter programs, they don't have a lot of incentive of finishing, and they have a lot of incentive of meeting the goals and then not really continuing from there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then and it's a question too we have to ask ourselves: will the subscription model still be something that's going to function in this day and age?
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of people, even WoW, starting to look in
Man,
that
I don't want to
direction.
pay for my fucking Netflix. What makes you want to pay for the fucking game?
Yeah, so like, you don't know because nowadays people are getting sign up subscription fatigue. It's not now you're not just subscribed to one game. Do you want to have 5 different gaming subscriptions? You know,
Mm.
it's for you, Brendan. I hope it's great, but my personal opinion is it's probably going to be a massive letdown.
Oh no,
And-
I totally agree with you. I just thought it'd be something interesting to talk about since
Yeah.
it's garnering some attention, especially with mainstream streamers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and
no, that's fair.
and one thing
I'm,
that
I'm kind of I'm sorry, I'm kind of stuck with
It's okay.
him and the fact that I'm just kind of like I'm stuck in the forever whirlpool of WoW. Like I'll just go back every expansion,
Yeah.
try it out, and then leave.
There's one thing that you said, Talon, just to answer something that you seemed to be juxtaposed to, was that when you're building the town builds itself. Although I do not have a clear answer on how the building is, progressed or whatnot. What I do know is that the creative director mentioned that whichever race contributes the most resources to building that town, it will change the outcome of the town's aesthetics. So, say if the orcs contribute the most to the town, it'll be an orcish town, or if the elves contribute, or the dwarves contribute the most, so forth.
That's
Um,
fair. That's a good
which-
compromise in terms of like what culture influences it.
I just always worry when I hear stuff like that because it's like in my head, my imagination goes, so like the architecture will be different, and maybe like the shops that are available will be different. And then what my pessimistic side goes is that I walk into the town and there's a different flag up front.
Yep, yep.
Or like it's not green torches, it's yellow torches.
Hey, it's that flag.
Hey, it's that flag. Remember how we contributed 10,000 more resources? Well, now the flag is green. Or the torches are yellow instead of blue here. Like, there's ways that I always feel like the designers, when they sell their game, come up with these, like, big things like, yeah. And then I'm like, dude, realistically, if you were to pull that off, you would be making the Mona Lisa. And you're no Da Vinci. And you don't have the same type of resources as a AAA that would have that same desire to make that game, because everybody wants to play that game. This magical MMO that we all talk about and all MMOs say they're gonna be.
Yep.
Everybody wants to play that game, but can it actually come out? Can systems? Is there an engine that can handle it? Like all these questions need to be answered first, and my answer is not right now.
Yeah.
So
Even WoW's reaching the point where it's just like people are like, we just want a revamp of just everything that's there graphically. Like
And
we just want old. Like WoW is starting to reach the point where it's not so many. Most of the player base now is like RP players, besides the hardcore raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we want more of the RPG in WoW, and so like they're asking just for like with every new update, like the zones become more intricate, and there's more NPCs walking around. There's more just like, for some people, be like useless stuff, but for people who just like to immerse themselves in the world, it's like, oh yeah, it helps me make the world feel alive. And
And,
I'm
like-
kind of like one of those people who tend to agree with them. I'm like, yeah, just revamp everything and make it so people can actually RPG in the game again.
And Boris, I've never played WoW, but I'm pretty sure you could attest. Like, it's probably, I'm gonna say impossible, for a Kickstarter developer to match the amount of content that WoW has had Blizzard put into it
Oh
over
my God,
15,
yeah.
20 years, to the point that it would actually start drawing people away. Like the amount of content. If Blizzard
The
wanted
amount of
to
shit.
if
the amount
Blizzard
of
wanted to do these systems, right? Couldn't they just? They could. They know they could theoretically put out an update and have these same systems, but there is a reason they aren't.
They
They
tried, and they got rid of a raid tier, and everyone who raided was pissed.
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right, we're not doing that again. And I'm kind of inclined to agree with them, because if there's one thing you want to make sure is at least making sure the people who raid can raid, because they do attract some of the esports stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Quote unquote, not really, it's not esports, but they attract the guild races.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I wanted to mention about like WoW is like, I think Talon, probably back when you were looking at it, was like Classic and Burning Crusade,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's just button pressing.
Yeah.
And
I
that's what
haven't played it
everyone's
since.
that's what everyone's realizing now as they go back and play WoW Classic, because it came out recently, about almost a year ago, is everyone's beaten WoW Classic, and it's like, wow, the raids are really easy. It was just trying to like everyone's realizing that the hard part was just getting people together to play it.
Yeah.
Like, if you look now and compare it to the boss fights that are now, it's like, it's ridiculous. Like the dungeon I was talking about earlier, just like remembering all the little things for that. Like the final boss was like, you have to have a ranged DPS, and he has to sit in the back, and he's got to dodge things, but he has to DPS down this one tentacle while the little melee are on this other tentacle, and they've got to dodge things, and the healer's got to go around debuffing everybody from a debuff, and then you got to run to one side of a platform and dodge stuff, and then you got to run to another platform and dodge stuff, but you have to have people within this certain area so another tentacle doesn't like wipe everyone out. So it's just like, it's a lot of timing based stuff, which is interesting. And it just makes, I don't know, it's a lot harder when you compare the newer stuff to like all the classic stuff.
Yeah.
And that's probably what Ashes of Creation, when it comes out, is what it's going to be. It's going to be classic WoW with some like cooler basic features.
Yeah, if they're gonna put that much emphasis into building, like if they're gonna put that much into Minecraft, they're gonna have to dumb down the combat.
Absolutely. And at that point, everybody's gonna go, okay, the building's cool, but I could go play Minecraft, and the combat's so I'll go play WoW, or I'll go play RuneScape and probably get the same experience. Like, it's just like, man, it's so sad to like have to just accept the reality right now that one of these AAA companies one day is just gonna have to decide, I'm gonna fork millions and millions, probably billions of dollars, to be honest, in development of this super MMO. If that MMO that we're all thinking of in our head as the perfect MMO is ever gonna come into fruition, whatever that MMO is, it's $1 billion project. It's not in the
We still haven't even
got.
gotten the perfect Battlefield yet, so.
No, we don't even as we talked, we don't even have the perfect Halo. To think AAA can come up with that eventually it's not gonna happen, unless Elon Musk wants to start his own game company.
I wouldn't put it by him. I would not.
I wouldn't. No,
No.
I would not.
I
Not
don't
at
know
all.
if I trust Elon anymore. He's,
I don't
he's starting to Kanye it. It's not good.
Yeah. So I don't know if I trust him if he would make it good anyways. Elon come out at press concerts. It's an MMO for your phone. You have phones, don't you?
With that being said, it was we're gonna wrap the podcast up here, episode 2 of the TrashCast. I know I wrote drunk into the title. I thought I would be more drunk. I actually wasn't that bad, so thank God.
I didn't even notice you were drunk.
You were at the start a little bit.
Yeah, but I figured it out. I grew into it. With that being said, I want to thank you, everybody in chat. There were honestly so many names in chat, and the chat was moving so constant that I wasn't able to, see who was there. But to those who were there, thank you for tuning in. Isaac, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub and the bits that you cheered earlier, as well as I think maybe did VOD? No, VOD didn't do anything. But still, VOD, thanks for being here. Becca, Talon, Mike, Gabe, Boris, thank you all for being here. And other Mike. There was another Mike that I saw at one point. Regardless, before we head off, Boris, is there anything you want to say to the people in chat and to Talon since you have him here now? You're muted, Boris.
There we go. Is it back on now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Nothing really. Just thanks everyone for being here. I know Red and Vod consistently in chat. Thank you. Talon, it's good to have another person educated on, or I should say, more educated on Halo stuff than I am. Halo lore, that is.
Thank you.
More up to date. Yeah, and there's still a million and one things like I could talk about Halo Infinite and little teaser things, but like that's once again going to the I want that MMO for Halo. That $1 billion MMO.
The $1 billion MMO.
Yeah.
If Halo Infinite comes out to be an MMO,
That'll be a shocker.
God, no, I hope not.
that would
I just want another ODST game, God damn it.
That would be
my-
fun.
my jaw would drop. It'd probably get dislocated. Like how hard my jaw would drop if Halo Infinite goes like it's like, you know why the map wasn't revealed? Because it's an MMO. Just like,
Bro!
what? There's other Master Chiefs?
You Master Chief. You should have done that with Reach. Just all Spartan 3s.
Dude, that would have been badass. I would have loved that actually.
So, with Boris concluding his participation in the podcast, I did type in chat !Boris for those of you who want to check that out. That is a command that plugs Boris' stream in my chat. Boris is a good friend of mine that I found through streaming, and we play games together, whether it is on stream or off stream. We're pretty good
Yeah, no,
friends.
we got it the other way around. We learned the other week. It's Boris the Space Dog at twitch.tv.
Exactly.
Twitch is on me.
As well as Talon, a good friend of mine and somebody that I had the pleasure of meeting in person, thanks to our common interest in Counter-Strike, like a year or two ago. You can find Talon over at twitch.tv/Talon CSGO, or CSGO, if
And
you
then
don't know what
you'd
CSGO
also find
is.
me on Twitter at twitter.com/Talon_. My cat's name is Nana Vod, or short for Napoleon.
Aw.
Her full name is Napoleon, but she goes by Nana. My dog's name, who you can't see, his full name is Jotaro, and he goes by Jojo.
Yes.
And you can follow my dog on Instagram at
Yes. Plug it.
Instagram.com/Jotaro's Puppy Adventure. I'm gonna put that in the chat right now.
Yes, I actually
can I
follow.
You may
Go ahead.
follow.
Go ahead,
Jotaro.
Boris. What were you
I
gonna
was gonna
ask?
say, where
That's
can I
not
follow
often.
that shield?
Oh,
Oh,
the
that
Dude,
shield.
I've actually had that for a while. Oh, this is Jojo.
Oh, there he is!
He's sleepy. He had a sleepy
Oh,
day, so he's been busy.
Jojo, I'm so sorry.
He went to the park and he had some ice cream, so he's been sleepy all day.
Aw, that's adorable. I love Jojo. I follow Jojo's account on Instagram, so I like all the photos. He's so adorable. Anyways, other than shamelessly plugging your Twitter and your dog, is there anything else you want to say, Talon?
I want to say, dude, thank you for having me on the podcast. This is a lot of fun. I've been actually wanting to do one in myself, so maybe we can talk about that. But in the future. But it just in general, thank you for having me. This was an awesome experience. I think this is my first podcast I've ever done, and I really liked it. So hopefully I can do more, and you have me back.
Definitely.
Akira approves.
Awesome. I'm glad that Akira and Boris approve. I will talk to you in the chat that we have set up off to the side here about further installments of having you on the TrashCast. Of course, I'll just say it out here now because it really doesn't matter if people know on stream or not. You are more than happy to leave or stay in the group chat as long as you want. I will be throwing out a roll call for specific guests who want to join me on the TrashCast. Luckily, Boris so far has been present every time, which he is a great person to have. He's a big brain, is what we call. Whereas
if you didn't have me, you wouldn't have a cast.
exactly right, and without Boris, we'd only have the smooth brains, which is just me. So with that being said, I want to give out big shout out to my guests. Without them, it would not be possible. Guys, this VOD will be going up on my YouTube channel, which obviously I'm not verified, so I don't have my own YouTube link, but you will be able to find it in my Discord if you join the Discord, which there's a command for that. And I spelled it wrong. Fuck. I'm still spelling it wrong. And there we go. So if you join the Discord, I will be posting my YouTube channel later on in the information or wherever the hell it is. But if you missed any part of the stream and you want to make sure to catch up on it, either tomorrow or maybe a month in advance when the VOD is deleted, you can find it on YouTube at my YouTube channel. Once again, you can reach Gumrock at his YouTube channel, GumrockYT. He has a random link as well. Boris at twitch.tv/Boris the Space Dog. He plays a lot of World War II oriented or real-time strategy games, and he's actually not that bad at them. So it's definitely something to take a look at if you're a fan of those kind of games. We have Talon, CSGO, a practically semi-professional Counter-Strike player. He is good at his fucking job, let me tell you. I've played with him tons of times. He's a great in-game companion, and he definitely does his team a well-due. His team deserves him, is what I'm trying to say. He's very good at the game.
I do the headshot good.
Oh yeah, click on the head, please.
He's only semi-pro because he doesn't want to embarrass all the pro players.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what
exactly.
it is.
So
That's
if you
what it
guys are into first-person shooters and want to watch somebody that is more or is better at first-person shooters, please follow Talon. He is definitely gifted in a sense at first-person shooting games. So if you're interested, go over to twitch.tv/Talon CSGO, and that's where you'll find some high-tier gameplay from my friend above me. If you want to check out Gabriel, because I've already mentioned Gumrock, I was about to do it again. But if you want to check out Gabriel, you can find him over at twitch.tv/GabrielBananas, where he plays honestly everything. And he's a really funny guy. He's talented as well. He plays in a band, which I'm sure if you head on over to his channel, you will be able to discover that on your own. I will be plugging all of these channels in the YouTube descriptions, so if you don't care to find out on your own, you can go to the YouTube channel and look them up in there. And with that being said, once again, I want to thank everyone for showing up and being active participants, not only in the chat, but in the podcast. It was great having your opinions and really having your outlook on the topics that we talked about. Obviously, Talon, you weren't there for our first episode, but my God, did you fucking hit our home run with, not only answering questions that I had and other people had, but asking your own questions, which I was really grateful for. It really added a new dynamic to really what the podcast can be.
Thank you.
And Boris, once again, thank you. And Mike and Gabriel, you guys all bring something new to the podcast that I for sure couldn't have brought up in a million years. So once again, with that being said, I want to thank everybody, and we're going to be heading off here in a second, and we will catch you we will be catching you all as a podcast 2 Sundays from now. And we will be talking about a future subject that I've yet to come up with, but don't worry, we will have one by the time we go live. So have a good Sunday night, Boris, Talon, Mike, if you're still there, Gabriel, if you're still there, thank you for joining me, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.
See y'all later. Thank you for having me.
Y'all.
Have a good night.